Oh, wait, should we do that?
Hello, welcome to the Tabletop Sports Network. I'm Rob, and this is the home of...
Tabletop Sports.
Yes, that's close enough. Yes, this is Mr. Benjamin Sava. Oh no, it says Nathan Prescott.
Oh,
My God, we got this
identities.
so wrong. Okay, hello. Anyway, welcome to the Sheffield Slaughter 2020 with Battle Round 5 to win the event.
And for the first time ever, we've got both. First time ever in coverage, maybe we're covering both tables, so we're going to be able to see who the winner is live.
Yeah.
By switching between, we're not just covering the top table. We've got the second table. There's JP, there is Chris, and there is Luke, all on 3 major victories.
Yeah. A lot of people get like a little bit confused. Like, is this the top table? No, often it's a top bracket. I mean, this isn't even like a particularly large field. It's 80 players, 80 great players. The atmosphere here has been excellent. But there are 4 4 people in it to win the. Well, actually, there's only really 3 people in it to win the tournament. So 3 people who are on 4-0. So 4 major wins.
Yep.
And that is Luke Morton, that is Chris Green, and then that is JP. Now, JP's up against Tony Moore. Tony Moore's on a minor win, so more than likely he won't take out the event unless there's a draw on table 1, and he majors on
which
table
there was
2.
in the last round.
There was
dead draw.
There was a dead draw.
Something you don't see very often in Age of Sigmar.
No, so the pack here at Sheffield Slaughter has stated that that there is that if you get within 100 points of each other, then they're just going to call it a draw. So super cool. All right, let's jump straight to the table because we need to talk about these.
Let's have a look.
So table 1, you have now. This is big. This is Luke, Mr. Luke Morton. As we've talked about, you've heard us bang on about him. The Tabletop Sports Network did a tiering system run by Owen Jackson, and specifically designed, built, orchestrated, and organised by Owen Jackson.
Yeah.
He said he actually wouldn't come unless we tiered all
big
the
fan
players.
of just dividing everyone up into
classes.
Into
classes.
Yeah.
And, so he has Luke Morton, a late entry actually, has decided he's going to come to this event yesterday. Oh no, the day before the event went live, and entered in our S tier, so above tier 1. And like Jonathan Etland said in the chat, Luke the Idoneth black belt. He is a wizard with this army. Benjamin, you've seen him play on the tabletop at FaceTime before with this army. How did you find it?
I thought he was just a fantastic player. It was all about his resource management. You know, he plays very conservative, and I mean, I was just watching his last game then against Ben, who had an amazing first round of shooting, took off some screens, took off some eels, spread out his force. You know, gave Luke a lot of choices, and I was just watching him, just even in terms of his body language and, you know, his composure. He kind of glanced up when a big unit of eels got shot, and he lost 3 of those, and kind of gave me a, you know, like a wry smile. But other than that, he just didn't show any sort of signs of being rattled at all by all that KO shooting. He just kept his head in the game. He was still moving everything super precisely, like really meticulous. Just an all-round great player, like really, really good to watch. Like, you learn a lot watching him, I think.
Loads. And hopefully you guys here will be able to learn more. So we're already at deployment, and he's against Chris. We saw Chris play last battle round. He's got his Flesh Eater Courts. He's got Blisterkin, and he's got Deadwatch. The big threats in that list is going to be the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, and there's also two units of 6 flayers, another unit of 3 flayers as well.
Yeah, and they've got the Grim Garland on the Terrorgeist, which projects a bubble of -2 bravery. And it's not wholly within, it's just within, so it's really easy to get him into place, which means that the eels are all going to be bravery 4 getting shot at by the flayers. And so there's the potential for so many mortal wounds, which is a real weak spot of the Idoneth anyway. And they're all in the Deadwatch battalion, which means if Luke is in combat if Luke charges and doesn't kill the the Flayers, not only will they be able to come back with the Crypt Infernal Courtier's ability, they'll also be able to fight in the hero phase because of the Deadwatch Battalion.
Yeah, so we're just seeing deployment now, and as we can see, these units of 6 Flayers going down here. There's a unit of 10 Direwolves deployed. This is the terrain piece. Now, this terrain piece is really important for Flesh Eater Court's armies. It's going to allow him to do some free summoning, and more than likely you'll see the Arc region located around there, and we're seeing now the other unit of 6 Flayers. Luke, by the way, has deployed 3 units off the board. 2 units of 3 Eels and a unit of 6 Eels have been deployed off the board. So they're in the Aether Sea, which means they're going to be able to deep strike down. They obviously come down with a character as well that allows them to point at a unit within 24 inches and have +3 to charge. And that's to all units that are charging the unit. So all those units get to use that bonus. It's quite big. But deployed for him currently are 3 units of Aether Wings.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing there. Right, we'll come back to this game in a moment. We'll just tell you what the other game is. Yeah, 2 great competitors here. I'm actually a fan of both of these people. Tony Moore is absolutely rad as a gamer, in my opinion. Like, he plays incredibly tight, incredibly precise Warhammer. And I've watched him.
Super fair player.
Yeah, really, really good. He's excellent. He's up against JP, very similar. We saw him do some great zonal control last game.
He did. He played that really well, yeah.
Really, really well for the win. So he's pulled this out. He's got his Petrifex Elite. Now, this is kind of Benjamin, sorry. This is an odd matchup for me because this is like 2017. Oh no, 2018 versus 2020.
Yes.
These OCR Bone Reapers versus
Death versus Death 2.0.
Yeah, this is OG Death versus like new and improved, like Pepsi Diet Death.
Yeah. Death and the death she told you not to worry about.
Okay.
Yes. So
we'll talk about the.
So Tony's list is a list I know intimately because one of my fiction teammates, Ben Murphy, wrote this list and played it for over a year. I hate playing it. It's such a clever list, but it's such a grind. As we seen with Tony on stream yesterday, the Frostlords went in, whomped that unit of Chain Rast, and then they just appeared again at the back of the board. And every time I've sort of glanced over at Tony's direction, he seems to have nothing less than a full army, even if we're 2.5 hours into the game.
Nothing less.
Unless you can kill Nagash, those units are just going to be coming back. And, he plays it really well. He uses all of the death shenanigans, so you sort of like, you swamp an objective, and then he's got the option then, however many models get killed, he's got the option to screen out. So let's say he was camped here with the Grimghast and he loses 10 or 12 of them, then with the death summoning he can come down here and get onto other objectives, and so it gives him, it's a really good, it's really good at objective play, this army. It's fairly one-dimensional. It doesn't have it doesn't have any shooting. The combat is all coming from the Grimghasts and the Chain Rasps. There's not too many tricks or shenanigans in here. It is like good 2017 Age of Sigmar. Really.
Yeah, I think so. There's some really big plays that are happening here. So Tony's going to get to choose who goes first. As we've seen, there's the grave sites here, so you guys can keep track. And also at the back here is a Necromancer who's got an Hourglass that's able to do D3 mortal wounds anywhere on the board. Those are the locations, but
yes,
look,
and then it continues ticking over to an immortal wound.
But in my opinion, this is a statement of intent. We're obviously playing focal points, as you can see. So these are the objectives. With Tony having the choice to go first, I think he's just moving everything into the centre right away. That's all going to come forward. That's what I think is going to happen. But we'll see. Deployment is almost over. We'll go over quickly back to table 1 and see what's going down. Getting very cagey on that deployment.
Yeah, if I was Luke, you'd be reading that deployment there, wouldn't you? And knowing that Chris has the opportunity to give him the first turn, you'd be reading that deployment and thinking he is going to give that to me. That looks like a very defensive deployment here. He doesn't want Eels to get into the meat behind these direwolves. So
yeah, turn three is going to be the big hit here. So, like with both games in the balance, we're going to find out. Tony's going to get the choice on table 2. Chris is going to get the choice on table 1. But while we're waiting to find out who is going to choose these matchups and watch someone try and win Sheffield Slaughter 2020, we're going to find out from Owen Jackson what's happening at the rest of the event right now.
Cheers, Rob. Yeah, we're playing focal points in Game 5. We're all Sunday dinner, re-energized and refreshed, ready for the final push. So whilst all the players, as I say, are playing focal points, my focus is going to be on the top 8 tables outside of the players who come in, which obviously Rob and Benjamin are commentating upon. So I'm going to be looking at those other 8 top tables, which have many players on 3 and 1, so there's still a podium available for them, so they're going to be pushing hard. Looking at the overall sort of top 10 table meta, we've got the most heavily represented armies are the Ogre Moor tribes and the Idoneth Deepkin, with 3 players each rocking those armies. We've then got 2 Fire Slayers, 2 Flesh Eater Courts, 2 Big War, 2 Ossiarch Bone Reapers, 2 Caradron Overlords, 2 cities, 1 Living City and a Tempest Eye, and then a Legions of Nagash and a Disciples of Tzeentch. So that makes up, that's the sort of the armies that are occupying those tables. In terms of the clubs that are occupying those tables, we've still got really good heavy representation from many recognizable clubs. So we've got players from Scribes, WS10, the Dragon Slayers, Marauders, and Team Just Play, all with at least 1 or 2, perhaps even 3 players on those tables. So running through them very quickly, we've got Table 8, Matt Robertson bringing his Boulderhead Ogres versus Declan Waters Big War. Table 7, Joe Purcell with his Tempest Eye against Thomas Waller's 4 Frostlord on Stonehorns, Ogres in Boulderhead. Ben Smith's KO, who you've seen on the stream this weekend, against James Boots' Underguts Ogres. And then Mike Stewart's Fire Slayers against Nick Thompson's Living City. Alex Bruce with his Zilfin KO against Mark Wildman's Tzeentch. Liam Jordan and Tom Fretwell, so Bone Reaper against Deepkin. They're looking to be the best beast, both members of the Beast Midlands team, looking to see who the top dog is there. I think I'm hyping that one more than they are, but we're looking for the best beast. And then we've got Greg Shelton with his Blisterkin Feck against Gabe Huddleston's Big War. And finally, over my shoulder here, Andy Hughes, the Dragon Slayer, with his Fire Slayers, is facing off against James Tyndale's Idoneth Deepkin. So yes, with that, that's the 8 tables outside of the top 2, which make up the top 10. And with that, I'm going to pass you back to Rob and Benjamin in the booth, who I believe are going to be ready to bring you some hot action.
Thank you very much. What a wonderful man he is.
He is.
Just an angel. Right, so welcome to Game 2, where we've just heard, with Game 1 still deploying, we've just heard that Tony, after what I thought, so this obviously shows why I commentate and not play as much, gave the turn away to JP. JP getting the first turn. Obviously worried about getting doubled. There's a thing happening there. But what else can you say about that?
Well, yeah, I think it'll be that one. He's not going to go and want to get doubled. He knows that the Bone Reapers don't have a lot of movement, so he can easily outnumber whatever he gets onto that middle objective. He can easily take that back with chain rasps, because he's only got 40 bodies on the board really anyway. JP has, so the chain rasps are 40 just in that unit. That's not even accounting for the Grimghasts. And also, I don't know whether, I'm sure Tony's a great player, so he probably knows it's often good to give Bone Reapers the first turn if you can, the first turn in a round if you can, because then they have to manage their Relentless Discipline a little bit better than what they would do if they can give away the first turn and get away with not using a lot of discipline, then they can go hog wild in their turn.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the things to look out for in this game, if you're new to Age of Sigmar and you want to see some really serious games or know what's going on, this terrain piece in the middle is the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. That's super important because it might in conjunction with Catacross make a unit -2 to hit, which this unit of Grimghast Reapers effectively neuters because they're rubbish with minuses to hit against them.
Yes, they are, yeah, but it looks like Tony's, that ability only has a wholly within 18 range, and so it's a really good way of playing around it, actually. I played OBR quite a lot back in Bad Moon, and it's one thing I picked up on. All you need to do is have one model outside of the 18-inch range, so you could deploy the whole thing like that, and if one model is outside wholly within, he can't use the abilities from that on them then. So it's a good little bit counter to that, and especially if you're fighting against Catacross lists, where, as Rob said, he's got I think it's almost board wide, or certainly a 36-inch bubble of being able to just give a unit -1 to hit with no rolling or anything.
So Benjamin, what are the big threats that JP can bring to bear in this first turn? Obviously he's got the crawlers. What do you think his moves are going to be?
So I was talking to JP at the end of the last round actually, and the list is built around the idea of actually being quite fast for an OBR. So he's got Catacross, which gives five Relentless Discipline on his own because he's a Liege and a hero, and then he gives an extra 3 just for being Catacross. He's got a Liege, he's got one of the hero, and then he obviously has he has 6-7 units, so he's averaging about 8 or 9 a turn, which he says he's using to just move everything as far as he can in the first turn, which is a nice, it's refreshing actually to see somebody thinking about it like that, because that is probably one of the OBR's weakest. It's one of their weakest turns. One of their one of their weaknesses in general is just the speed and the inability to be able to get across onto the objectives or to even pose too much threat really in the first turn. I mean, he's got a couple of catapults, but really to my mind, those catapults are not going to be very effective in this game because losing 5 or 6 Grimghasts, losing 5 or 10 Grimghasts, if a couple of those units go through, then Tony can just bring them all back through grave sites and through Nagash's ability, which is obviously, the old War Scroll, he used to have to roll to bring back D3, but now since the change, he just brings back 3 automatically every turn, and so the catapults don't have a good target. Like Nagash is great if he fails his saves, but as soon as Tony's had a turn, he's going to be on 3 up re-rolling 1s.
Yeah, so but it does mean that what Tony can't do is take this unit of Reapers and just string them out, because if those catapults be able to take out one, like we saw yesterday where JP took out the Raiding Champ, took out a unit and then Battle Shock half off. We're going to jump over now to table 1 because we think deployment might well have finished, and we're going to have a little look-see and see what we think. How he's deployed. So he's put his unit of big 6 eels here. He's screened with some thralls, and then those eels are still going down, and it looks like Voltronus is going on the board. Don't forget there's a unit of 3 Aether Wings here, a unit of 3 Aether Wings here. We're still waiting for them to deploy. Benjamin, so Chris gets the choice. Do you think he's going to sit off for a turn? Because Luke is going to sit off for a turn because we've got lots of scoring to be done.
Yes, I think Luke is too smart of a player to go over there and hit that castle. Killing direwolves, he's going to get nothing out of that really, apart from just reducing the bodies slightly. The Crypt Infernal Courtier is going to be hiding. It looks like he's here, and so unless you can get to him and kill him, or you can neuter the whole, or you need to take out the whole unit of flayers to a man. Otherwise, he's going to be bringing them back each turn, and so. Yeah, I would say with the caliber of player that Luke is, he's not just going to throw his army into what is essentially a decent castle. I mean, it depends how many he has off the board, but as you can see in the bottom here, the Terrorgeist, he is within 3. So if Luke did charge his eels into here, he would be able to use his zaps over the top of those direwolves into that Terrorgeist. It looks like looks like Chris is going to be giving away the first turn. He's going to want to try to get the double here because the flayers are fast, and they're faster even in Blisterkin. I think they've got 14-inch move and then a 10-inch shot, but from 24 away, which they are at the moment, he wouldn't be able to do anything with that in the first turn. And if he gives the turn away and Luke stays back, doesn't come into range of those, then he's not going to be able to do anything. Well, he's not going to be able to do anything in his first turn anyway. So be hoping to get that double to.
So we've just found out that Chris is currently still debating what he wants to do in that first turn. It's very close, and we're not certain. Big question for the Twitch chat: who do you want to win? Who do you think is going to take it out? That's the real question in this match. I'm not 100%. I mean, Luke's obviously got that history. He's this legend now. At this stage, or he's building himself a legend, right? A myth. But then also at the same time, Chris, can he be an ex-40k player? I played Chris once a couple of years ago at Bobo.
Yeah.
And he had a Deepkin army, a 40k, but not a Deepkin army, a KO He had the clown car build. That was not the most interesting game for me to play, but so we're just gonna see how he does. But I think he's a solid gamer.
Yeah, I was impressed by his play on table 2 against Joe in the last round. He mitigated for the effect of mitigated against the chance of losing the double, because he got given first turn and deployed and moved forward a little bit, but measured all of his ranges and made sure that he was out of range of Joe's shooting, even if Joe won the double. And I think we spoke about it after the game, and I think Joe just got he just got a little bit excited by winning the turn 2 priority, and just took it regardless of before he even measured out any of those distances. And I think it wasn't until he started moving that he realised that most of his shooting was going to be out of range. So he had a really ineffective first and second turn. So Chris obviously knows what he's doing.
So the first turn though being given away by Chris, given to Luke, forces Luke to make these decisions. And this is where we really get to talk about the battle plan, right? Focal points and how you strategize. A lot of it is fought here. Some people, what they do is they bring their opponent into the center and then they circle around. That's their way of getting it. Because the way you score is the center is worth 2 points. These are all worth 1. But if you link them up, that's +1 to there. So they're worth 3. So attacking along these flanks is good, but it opens you up a very wide front to be attacked along, which is what's going to be so different in our game. In how these two armies are going to play, because there's such mobility when we go and talk about game 2. Because as you can see, JP, he's moved his 5 Kavalos Death Riders up here. He's moved his 20 Mortek there, and then his 20 Mortek there. But he's screened at the back. He's got Catacrosses here, and these 2 Mortek Crawlers. They've fired over, and they've apparently, so far in the shooting phase, they've only killed 1 dog. 2 dogs.
2 dogs.
2 dogs, but the other crawler still to shoot.
So I think if he shoots that into the dogs now, that's quite. Wow.
Nagash has failed 3 death saves from the crawler.
The given 1 extra attack.
Crawler does 5 damage, yeah.
Wow, and he's shot into Nagash.
And then Nagash has got a 3-up save. It's got no rend, but he's only got to roll 2s. He's taken 14 wounds in the first turn.
Wow,
JP called it. I spoke to JP just before the game started, and he said he's just going to roll 2s on those. And JP is over the moon. That's ludicrous.
That is huge.
That's ludicrous. Maybe our table boss can get a quick little audio from JP on how he feels. I imagine. That's the end of his turn. What
Look at
the
that is
hell?
Unbelievable. Wow.
So he's got the center objective there.
Can Nagash heal wounds on his own? I know he can do it in OBR, but I guess he can just heal those 3 wounds to himself. Or can he not do that in? Nagash? I don't think he can.
No, not as well. He's got his own spell that does more wounds.
The Stole Stealer,
but it has to be in combat.
Bravery.
But that's ludicrous. That is such a swing moment. Play of the century. JP said, he's like, I'm just going to keep firing him at Nagash, yeah, and he's going to roll those 2s.
So it's interesting that the other one wasn't set up in. The other one was only set up within range of. So where are they on the board? I guess one's there.
Yeah.
So he would be too far away from Nagash.
Yeah. So he only fired with the 1.
But if
that's outrageous.
Yeah. If that was his plan, then. If the other one was there and that was in range 2, that would have been game, I think.
It would have been. Right, so let's go to the Mort report, as I've heard it's called now, because that first turn given away, we can see Luke's movement in the first turn.
Okay, yeah. So he's advancing forward. Doesn't seem like he's going all out. But yeah, he's moved his unit of thralls up into the middle here. There's 2 units of 3 eels on either side there. Looks like they might just be in range of a charge. If the centre line's there and he's set up. Yeah, he could be in range with a charge there and a charge there maybe. Probably more just for pinning and tagging and keeping him in his deployment zone. But as we said, there's the Deadwatch Battalion allows him to fight in the hero phase. So if this unit did come down here and attack into the Flayers, didn't kill them, they would be able to pile in and fight for free in the hero phase. and that's even after the courtier bringing back a couple of models, and then they can fight, probably be able to take out that unit for free, which would be a really bad trade.
I'm honestly interested in this game, but I cannot get over what just happened on table
huge.
2. Huge. Like, that's the luck of the... Because so, in kind of other news, the Gurking on Terrorgeist that you can see on this board here, this is Gurking on Terrorgeist that earlier on in the tournament got murdered to a scrap launcher. Wow. A Noblar scrap launcher from the Ogre Moor tribes.
I guess Parr, who we saw yesterday,
take it out. So he's back for vengeance. But
really?
I think JP's going to
take out the Death Generals.
Wait, don't we just shoot the characters?
Just shoot the heroes.
Just shoot the heroes. It's such an obvious decision. So Luke now moving forward, and he made a big 10-inch charge. No, that's not this table. That's table 2. Sorry, Nathan. Because on table 2, no.
Still in,
where's the big 10-inch charge we talked about? Or maybe he needs a big 10-inch charge.
Needs a big 10-inch charge. Yeah, I was going to say it looked like a big charge.
We'll bring that back. So he's looking for... That's here. Yeah. So would you say that what he's doing is going to drag those out?
No, well, I was just saying I don't think that's a good play to charge this unit in at all. But I think over here is because if those eels can take off those direwolves, which they probably should do, that's 10 bodies gone. And in Blisterkin, there's no bringing back models, but there's no bringing back direwolves in Flesh Eater Courts because they're not part. They're just allies. They're not part of the allegiance. So.
Yeah. Well, can we also talk about the fact that get back on game 2 very quickly? Tony now getting his turn. Tony is activated, and what's happened is he's done. He used the portal, so he's summoned the Umbral Spell Portal, which is an endless spell, and through that he's done Soul Stealer on Cattlecross, done 3 mortal wounds, and then he's healed 3 mortal wounds.
Did he roll it?
Yeah, he rolled. Yes. He rolled 3 mortal wounds.
To steal a wound. Yeah.
Steal 3 wounds.
3 wounds.
Yeah. So he killed. So he did 3 mortal wounds to Catacross.
Okay. Yeah. So he's back up to 6 wounds now.
Yeah. He's 11 wounds.
Oh wow. Oh, because he heals 3 on himself. I guess he just do that then. Yeah. So.
That's fine. So he's taken 11 wounds at the minute. He's taken 11 wounds. So that is big play.
Yeah, so it was Sinister terrain we were hearing from the table boss. Catacross is sitting in Sinister, which means he's -1 bravery, which means that Soul Stealer has a much better chance of stealing wounds from him. Then you have to roll over the bravery, and then you heal wounds if you beat it. So he did. He rolled the 10, and Catacross is. Okay, so more terrain having an effect on the board here. You can see the Reapers have moved over onto this piece of terrain here, and they failed a deadly test, which, I don't know, you can type in the chat if you've ever seen anyone ever fail a deadly test since the change into AOS 2. One of the most ineffective pieces of terrain on the mystical terrain table now, but he failed it and lost 3 Grimghasts. So terrain having a big impact here on
really big. Like way more than if you just asked me what do I think is going to define these games, I would not have said terrain.
Not the mystical terrain.
Not table, the mystical terrain table. That's not where we're going to be at. Which is
yeah. So
have you got a piece of terrain that you look for in games?
I mean, I think. Arcane and Commanding is what everybody is looking for, but no, nothing other than that really. Mystical and
just the mystical. Just the mystical.
All
right, so going over to game 1, we're now seeing. So we've gone into turn 2. I'm pretty certain we've had the priority roll into turn 2, table boss. Yes or no? No. Still first turn. All right, so we're in the very first turn for Idoneth, and Luke's being very meticulous. He knows this is for the win, so he's taking it very seriously.
He's bringing his 6 seals on down here. I didn't think he would do that.
Well, so we did say, of all the threats here, Gurking and Terrorgeist, we've heard so much about it and how big of a deal it is.
Yep.
What do we think? Like we said that the biggest threats we think on this is actually the Flayers.
The Flayers are the units he needs to take out here for sure, yeah. Because it is Blisterkin, so that Terrorgeist is not anywhere near as effective as it is in Gristlegore. It doesn't have the fight first, it doesn't have fight on death. It does have gruesome bite, so it's still re-rolling its hit rolls on the maw, obviously fishing for sixes. But it's the flayers that I think are going to do the damage here, just because of how low bravery eels are, and they're only 12 wounds in that unit. They would, if they're anywhere near the Grim Garland, which is the artifact that the Terrorgeist is carrying, then there'll be 4 bravery. And so the way that the bravery scream works on the flayers is you roll 2 dice and you -2 from the result if you are outside of 3 of the enemy, and then whatever you roll over the bravery does a mortal wound. And so on average on 2 dice you roll a 7, so that goes to a 5. Eels are bravery 4, so you're doing 1 mortal wound per flayer that shoots. But if you can spike those rolls and you roll a 9 or a 10, even higher maybe, you could look to be killing 1 or even 2 eels with with 1 shot from those flayers. And obviously the Idoneth Deepkin have no mortal wound support.
No, so. I think there's a lot to, I think he's got that big charge in at the bottom there, as we've just seen. I'm sure he's going to be putting his zaps in. So this little unit in the center. Oh,
this one here, I think.
So this unit here of 6 has just made the charge. Obviously, that unit's been pointed out, so you get +3 to charge from the ability. So that unit of 6 is in. There we go. So they're going to be into those flares. So those flares definitely going to die. I wonder if there's what the distance is between here, or if this is just a big trap. Obviously, we've still got Chris's first turn to come back, and the strikebacks are going to be pretty deadly, right?
Yeah, because if he doesn't wipe out this unit now, he can bring back models with the flayer, and he can fight in the hero phase. So he could be getting a free round of combat there. So Luton really needs to focus fire here, and as you pointed out, I wonder what the gap is there between the screen and the unit behind them. I think Chris is probably too smart a player. He's too smart a player probably to be within 3, but maybe that would be in his benefit, because he wants to be drawing out some of the zaps, because he doesn't want this unit to die to its to a man.
So we need to go over to game 2, because we've had the priority roll now. Let's look at what Tony's done. He's taken his very wounded Nagash and he's moved him out of the way, and he's screened him with some dogs. Nagash going from a terrible threat that was going to move here into the center and command the field to now super scared of this backfield. And like we said, if Tony loses Nagash, he's not going to be able to recycle these units. So he's taken it. JP with that very, very terrible save roll early, and that 15 damage done to him.
Changed the whole game.
It's just completely changed the shape of the game.
Yeah.
Now this unit, as you can see, of Grimgasser's motive down here, they're -1 to be, they're -1 to hit, and those chain rafts have moved over there. These Mortek here and here, they're going to get involved, and JP's got his other turn. I wonder if there is range for that catapult to hit Nagash. It looks like he's in range.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that with him moving forward there, I'd imagine he might even be able to get this one in range as well. It's weird that with only 4 or 5 wounds left on Nagash, that he's played so aggressively with him there.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, the shooting phase here is going to be really interesting, and of course, bodies on the board. This objective he's looking to score and then surround. Those Mortek Guard, if he gets the multi-charge off, they could do some genuinely solid work, but into both units, which I think is what he's going to be looking to do, and hit back. But then again. And then he's got loads of Relentless Discipline points. He's got 8 of them so far. So this unit of Mortek can go in. They can re-roll their charges. They can go in, re-roll their saves. They can go in, and they can re-roll their saves. And then, honestly, that's a really good turn for JP. Yep. I mean, the big swing moment is going to come, and it's going to be over very quick, unless Tony's an excellent player. So I just don't know what he does if he loses Nagash in the shooting phase.
I think that he's obviously going to have dropped his command ability. You can see the token there, probably just behind it. So now the whole army is going to be re-rolling 1s to save. So maybe he failed those 3 saves on the first turn, but he's got a 33% chance to fail that in the first turn, because 1s and 2s both go through. Whereas now he can re-roll 1s, so there's much less chance of him taking any damage from those catapults.
There is. I mean, I would have said it was very likely he would have done that anyway, but because there's no rend. There's no rend on those catapult shots.
Yeah, it was like I was saying at the beginning of the game, I wouldn't even shoot Nagash with him because you'd think it wouldn't be going through.
Yeah, but what a legendary tale if he gets it this round.
Yeah.
Also, something to mention as well, Petrifex are so good because they're able to add +1 rend to the attacks on these units of Morte. Obviously, +1 attack as well is another option. But rend does mean nothing,
exactly. But that
because
just means more relentless discipline points to spend.
Exactly, because this unit of Chain Rasps and this unit of Grimghast, they ignore rend, so they just have a 4-up save over here and a 5-up save on this unit, respectively. And then because of Nagash, they're going to be re-rolling ones to save.
Yep.
So that rend not very useful actually. Again, ghosts. We talked about it when Nighthorn came out. I thought they were a good meta balancer, meta shifter. The move away from big rend, moving into big mortal wounds potentially, because you have to do a Nighthorn. Unfortunately, the Nighthorn battle tome is nowhere near as competitive. But Legion of Grief, which Benjamin, I know you've run to a pretty successful effect, and we've also seen very famously this sort of Legion of Nagash build. Whether it be a Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon that's ethereal, or a Nagash sat behind huge rows of ghosts, ignoring rend, really changes the shape of the metagame. But you don't see it much anymore.
Yeah, you don't know. It's interesting because I still think there's a lot of legs in lists like this, especially if you can keep your generals alive. Because there's there's so much damage output now in so many armies that even Grimghasts or even Chain Rasps would never be one shot. Back when Legion of Nagash was in their heyday, you could never one shot a unit of either of these units. Whereas now, lots of books probably can. But if you can keep your general alive, you can just bring them back. And I think there's, as we've seen all over the weekend, so many games are won or lost in sort of turns 4 and 5, and the amount of incredible late game play that the Endless Legion's ability gives you is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just hearing now what's happening over on table 1. So that unit of 6 eels is gone in, Ben, and look what's missing.
Like he has taken out every single flayer there, which is exactly what he needed to do. He's really put a lot of pressure on Chris now here in this first turn. That's one of his big units of damage dealing flayers wiped out. They won't be coming back.
So we're just going to find out as well what zaps are going to have been used from those units, if the 6 activated or if they didn't, which gives them some really good counterplay, because traditionally, if you charge... Okay, so normally, both units, it turns out, both the unit of 6 now and the unit of 3 now have used their zaps, and then what that means is that they can't. There's no counterplay for being charged. Maybe he thought to save him, hoping that if he got countercharged, he'd be able to zap back. But problematically, or as I was going to bring up, which is why I think Lucas uses zaps, is because the flayers are going to shoot into those before they even, or they're going to scream into those.
Well, what they're going to do now that he's in combat with these 6 flayers is they're going to pile in the hero phase, because the Dead Watch Battalion allows them to fight for free in the hero phase.
Yes.
So if any have been lost, he'll bring them back with the Infernal Courtier. He'll be able to pile in. He'll be able to fight them in the hero phase, and more crucially, the flayers' shooting attack. You don't have to -2 from the dice roll when you're within 3 inches of the enemy. So if you can get back up to a full 6 flayers from the courtier, he'll be shooting, and if he brings this Terrorgeist over here to give the -2 bravery to these eels, all of those eels are going to take in 3 mortal wounds on average from 6 flayers. So that's 18 mortal wounds on average there, which is enough to kill. Yeah, it's enough to probably kill the 6, especially with the hero phase fighting and the
very much so.
The regular combat phase.
Having taken out that units of 6, it basically leaves Chris with not as many threats. He's obviously got the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, which is a terror, and can potentially go here. But the problem is, I think, if he moves forward even if he takes out the thralls here or goes and takes out what Luke has done, and I think it's lovely. Look at how the board is. I just want to look at some composition. Look at Chris's army. It's all together. It's in this small an area. Yeah. Then let's go and look at game 2, right? So you've got all of Tony's army here, but it's very connected. You could charge if you wanted to. I could charge this Mortek unit, and I could connect over there into both units of Ghosts. There's loads of options. Let's look at Luke's game. Luke has covered the whole board. He's here. You can't get him. He's here. He's here. He's here. But you charge one, which is fine, but you're away from the other ones. He's got this center one, but whenever you charge one of these units of eels, maybe you can go and get another, but you can't get everything because they're not all lumped up together. So he's created that space across the board. So this Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, wherever it decides to go, is going to be counterplayed, even in a double.
And I think cleverly, it seems like Luke hasn't zoned off the Flesh Eater Court's teleporting. It doesn't look like that he's zoned that off there, which means that maybe he's trying to do that as bait. And he's covered so much of the board, so no matter what board edge the Flesh Eater Courts come on, he can go and hit them with eels can go that way, that eels can go that way. So he's got 2 units of 3 that can cover all of the board edges, no matter where that Flesh Eater Court summoning comes on. And it doesn't look like he's used it to zone out. So he's left those places open, hopefully trying to draw those summons out soon. Because if I was Chris, I would want to be sitting on those summons. I would want to be causing headaches for Luke and making him keeping him honest. So what I would want to be doing now if I was Chris is just playing this turn quite conservatively. I think I'd probably, as I would say, I'd bring the Terrorgeist over here, and I would make sure that between him and the Flayers that are here, you wipe out the whole threat that's gone down here. You'd maybe bring these other 3 Flayers up here. If you can get the Terrorgeist maybe there, wholly within 12 of the eels and within 12 of the thralls.
Benjamin, I want to hear it all. I do, but I don't want to cut you off, but I do want to go to table 2 because right now we're in the shooting phase,
okay,
and we are seeing Nagash being rolled against. We might get some calls from our table boss. So this is the Harvester shooting him. So the Harvester is just here. That's where the Harvester is. But wonder. Oh yeah, JP's pointing. This is a moment.
This is it.
This is a moment. Plus 1 attack.
All 4 hits. Hits on 2s, wounds on 3s.
My God, 2 wounds.
Have gone through.
2 wounds.
He's only got 5 wounds, so he needs to just fail 1.
Oh, he saved them all. It's nowhere like this.
Saved them.
He rolled a 1.
So
reroll 1.
The command ability has saved him. Lord of the Undeath. Not this turn.
I'm so tense on that shooting phase. JP's got me feeling like, let's go. He's got the... So Nagash is up to 12, taken 12 wounds at the minute. So he's got 6.
So he only needed to fail one of those 2. Then.
Only needed to fail one of those,
yep.
and his 6+ DPRs.
Is the second catapult in range of Nagash here as well?
I don't think it is. No.
So
he's risking it for the 1. Anyway, that's... honestly, that's just like heart-breathing moments. So the other one is targeting the Chain Rasps. That's a good move because they've got the worst save in the army, other than the dogs. So if he hits some wounds, he can do... I mean, you can do spectacular damage with the +1 attack on Legion Cavalos. 20 damage coming out of those guys.
Yeah. Although, would you want to be shooting at the dogs there? Because the dogs are 5 models. The Cavalos are 5 models plus this Chain Rasp. So if you can kill a couple of dogs, the Cavalos get that, and he scores 3 points.
I think he's going to charge him anyway, right? Like, he's going to...
That's much more effective, Helen. You'll just do that. Yeah, but I think cleverly that's what JP did in the first turn. He shot the other catapult at the unit of dogs to get them down, so that JP scored the 3 points here in the first turn.
So 10 Chain Rasps taken off by the catapult there. 10.
So they failed 2 saves there.
Yeah. I mean, it's the smartest play. They've only got a 5-up save. Right. So while we wait for the conclusion of these tense games, I mean, we're getting to the meat of it. We're not even at the conclusion. We're going to find out now what Owen Jackson's got to tell us about the rest of the event at Sheffield Slaughter 2020.
Cheers, Rob. Yep. So we're going probably into turns 2 and 3 now in most games here at Sheffield Slaughter. Round 5, where we're going to see who our champion is. Obviously, you're getting all that action from the top 2 tables, and I'm covering tables 3 to 10. So, yeah, looking across the tables. Table 8, Matt Robertson's Boulderhead Ogres versus Declan's Big War. Those Ogres, they took a Hand of Gork charge, and they've weathered the storm. There's no Frostlords on Stonehorn's Dead yet. So whilst Declan's got some good board control, and he's probably up on the scenario, yeah, there's 3 Frostlords in a row. It looks pretty scary, and they're ready to punch into a big unit of Ard boys. He's running the Ard Fist, so we can bring them back. But yeah, that's looks like a big ding-dong there on table 8. Joe Purcell against Thomas Waller. Tom did what he's been doing all weekend, where he ploughed in with 4 Stonehorns essentially. Cleared a lot of screens, but Joe's still got a lot left. And I think Tom does have all 5 objectives, but he's 2 Frostlords down. So, yeah, not doing quite as well as Matt there on table 7. Ben Smith's KO versus James Boots' Ogres. He's got a frigate down, but he has excellent board control. It's a bit of a shootout there. It's funny, there's quite a few Mexican standoffs in the early games, and now some fights have broken out. Table 5, Mike Stewart's Fire Slayers. It's cagey there, but Mike's finally unpacking his castle, his ginger castle, and he's getting, yeah, pushing up in towards Nick Thompson's Living City. Alex Bruce's KO versus Mark Wildman's Zinch. The boats are backlined, and obviously they can teleport wherever they want, but Archaon is front and centre. He's just saying, come at me. Come at me. You'll need to hear that, obviously. He's saying, come at me. And Alex doesn't want to commit. Liam Jordan against Tom Fratwell over there. Tom's gone for the classic pin. He's just got Reavers capping the back home objective. But I'm very much like the stream game. I'm not sure if those 2 catapults will swing it for Liam, because yeah, those eels will die. It's an eel for every shot that he gets through. Greg Shelton versus Gabe Huddleston. Greg went aggressive early. He punched and pinned in the Big War, and he's now breaking out. Gabe is breaking out. Yes, he's still got 12 Flayers and a Ghoul King on Terrorgeist on the board. So, yeah, that's going to be a really interesting game in the mid-game. And then finally, over my other shoulder, Andy Hughes against James Tinsdale. Andy has been outscoring through the course of 3 turns, and they're now into turn 3. The Mexican standoff has ended, and it's the charge of the Eels. Basically, 75% of James's army is now lined up. Oh, and they're all in. They're all in. All the Eels are in. The Zaps are going to go off. I think, obviously, with Hermdar and Lords of the Lodge, Andy's going to strike first, but it's going to be some death on that table shortly. With that, I think there's some interesting stuff happening on the top tables. So I'm going to pass you back to Benjamin and Rob.
Thank you so much, Owen. Right, so much has happened since you guys have been away. We're going to get back to it. So here in table 1, Chris is taking his first turn. Now, Benjamin, you were telling me, so in Luke's first turn, he aggressively moved in with 3 eels here and then 6 eels there, taking out 6 Flayers. But he's playing against Deadwatch. What does that mean?
So Deadwatch Battalion means that you can pick 1 unit in the battalion, which is the 2 units of 6 Flayers, unit of 3 Flayers, and the hero, and you can pile in the hero phase for no cost, no command point, nothing else, so you can just pile in for free. And what he did before that, which is exactly what we said he would do if he lost any, was to use the Crypt Infernal Courtier to bring one of the eels that died back, one of the Flayers that died back in that unit, so he went up to a full unit of 5. And then he cast the spell from the Archregent War Scroll, which is to give D3 attacks to 1 unit, and he managed to roll the 3. So those Flayers are now
bonkers.
Those Flayers are on 7 attacks each. So one of them was able to kill the last eel in the unit of 3, and then the other 4 were able to kill 3 of the eels from the unit of 6. They didn't manage to finish them off, but it means they're in combat, which means they are going to get shot off in this turn.
They
100% now,
100%.
because the average amount of wounds that you're doing from a Flayer, if you bring this
Ghoul King on
Terrorgeist over, who has the Grim Garland effect artifact, will be -2 bravery. They'll be on bravery 4, so they'll be doing, those 5 Flayers will be doing 15 mortal wounds, even on average dice. So that unit of 3 is dead. So that's 9 eels gone for the loss of 6 Flayers.
Yes, but then again, the problem is with we talked about it. We're not 100% certain that committal first turn by Luke was the right play, but We've seen Luke play some really solid games and win some really solid games. So I think he would have thought about it. We've seen him play very conservatively. We've seen him sit off with Eels before. It's very rare, especially with Idoneth Deepkin, because on turn 3 they get to just fight everywhere all the time. So I wonder if it's just up against Flesh Eater Courts. He feels like it's a tough matchup. Or if I wonder if 9 Eels, he doesn't. I mean, surely he minds losing 9 Eels, right? Like, that's got to be an issue. He's still got big Volty back there.
Yeah, it's got to hurt. Yeah, definitely.
But maybe he's not. Maybe his plan is to drag them into the centre here, because it's a fairly fragile army, truth be told. Maybe his plan is to drag them into the centre, hoping Chris is fairly conservative. Then he's got Volty, or turn 3, all the extra attacks, stacks them on Eel, hits everything, always strikes first, wipes out the centre, and he's up, because he's already up on points this turn anyway. He's already gone and got those 4 points. He got the 2 and the 2, so he secured some early points to make sure he's okay. He can afford to lose at the mid game and push back late.
Yeah. So what I would be hoping for here, well, what I'm hoping for from Chris is a super conservative turn. I think he wants to try and score the 2 points in the middle, but he can easily do that with the dire wolves if they go. Oh, they're already going a different way.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. Well, I think probably the better play would just be to bring the dire wolves into here, sit them there so that they score the objective.
Yep.
You bring your Terrorgeist over there so that they're within 12 there. You bring the 3 flayers there to shoot them. You take them off, and then you've only got the flayers shooting from behind a wall.
I reckon he's putting the Terrorgeist in the middle. But we'll find out about that in a moment. There's been some hot action over on table 2. It's really hotting up. As you can see, we're now in the charge phase. So JP won the priority into turn 2.
Yeah, and we heard from the table boss while we were looking at the other table that this unit of Death Riders rolled a 1/1 on the charge, and obviously they can't re-roll because they can't use command points because of the Relentless Discipline mechanic, but the banner gives them +1, so it made
double one charge
gets them in.
Yeah, the Mortek are here, so exactly like we talked about, the combat has happened. Mortek in here. The Liege Cavalos has also made it in here. Yeah, that's pretty certain. Catacross is there, so Liege Cavalos is in. The Crawler, though, he would have liked to have got the Crawler in, because the Crawler can heal units. Yeah,
although he'll still be within 3 there, unless JP's made a mistake there, but he should still be within 3, so he should still be able to
heal some.
To heal them back, yeah.
He also can obviously kill some, the Harvester himself, and then put some back into the Mortek unit as well, which is quite nice. So we're hearing 61 attacks. They're coming in from the unit of Mortek in on the left-hand side or in the centre. They've been given +1 attack, but not reroll saves. So they're looking to strike first. However, this unit on the left have been given +1 attack, and they've been given reroll saves. And he's used 7 of his 9 discipline points this turn.
Exactly what we're talking about at the beginning. Is the resource management on Relentless Discipline by giving or if the Bone Reapers player has to go first. And then, like this turn, when they have to go all out, they have to make sure they're getting done what they've set out to achieve. You sometimes have to spend a lot of those. So now he's only got 2 points to last through the whole of his opponent's turn.
Yes, he has, and it's pretty terrifying. Let's be honest. He's also, that Liege Cavalos unit up there into the dogs is, not the Liege Cavalos, sorry, the Cavalos Death Riders up there into the top are going to do some solid work. They're amazing on the charge, especially if you spent a CP to give them the impact hits as well, get those mortal wounds in. We'll find that out. But
yeah, I mean, he's sitting in a good position though, JP is, because he's on this centre objective now with 20. He's going to score this, and he's assuming he doesn't whiff here, he's going to score that. So he's going to score another 6 points and go to 12. Tony, I don't think he's going to be able to threaten either of these two in his turn. And unless he rolls super hot on all the grave sites and then just swamps around with chain
He
rasps.
also put all of the grave sites in the middle, because look at how much the game has changed. He had the grave sites here, all lined up. I wonder if that's the grave site on the far left-hand side. I'll double check. I don't think it is.
That's his command ability.
That's his command ability.
Yeah.
So I think his plan always was to go here, and be like, I'm going to just bring units back here and keep pushing forward. That's my plan. But just that huge first turn in shooting.
Yeah.
Just change the shape of the game.
You have to be within 9 of the gravesite with the hero to be able to use Endless Legions. And I think you can move onto it first, but yeah, with Nagash being all the way over here, he's probably a little bit too far away to use any of those gravesites to summon. I think what JP will be hoping for here as well is to not kill this unit of Chain Rasps.
Right, so we're over. So we're going to go over to game one now, because we moved into the shooting phase. So first turn for Chris, Flesh-Eater Corpse, into the shooting phase. And then here we have seen the shooting phase go in here. They've killed 2 eels. That's 8 wounds. That's pretty good. But it should have done more.
No, it's because he sent the Terror guys this way, so he would have just been shooting against the Bravery 6 rather than the Bravery 4.
And he's elected to screen the Terrorgeist. Is he going to try and jump over in a charge?
It's not really much of a screen, though, because
maybe because
eels fly.
The eels. So this unit of 3, they shot into the last eel, and that is now dead. Well, so maybe Chris. Oh, I'm sure Chris does know that eels are actually way worse if you don't let them charge you. So what he's done is he's going to put the dogs in first, and then if the base size is right, he might. Terrorgeist has screamed in there as well, so he's done 6 damage. So
3
damage. Sorry, he hasn't killed one yet. I wonder what he's going to do with the dogs. He's left that center objective alone. That's worth 2 points.
2 points, yeah. I mean, it's early days, going 4-2. I think there were better plays here that Chris could have done. I think he could have just taken this objective with the dogs, evened it up to 4-4. And just kept everything else fairly back, really. You could have moved if you wanted to move the Terror guys somewhere, you just move it over to here behind these dogs, and maybe shoot this unit here with the other 3 flayers, and they've gone over here to finish off that last one.
It's a conservative play. So we've just heard about the unit. Oh wow! So over here, big charge. A unit, an 11-inch charge have got us into not the Soul Scryer, but not the Tide. Is that a Tide Caster?
That'll be the Soul Scryer, because he popped up with the 2 units, didn't he?
Yeah, Soul Scryer. So that Soul Scryer being gone means that he won't be able to use his ability to point at units and get the charge off anymore.
Yeah, it's an interesting move though. That is
taking him off the objective.
It's taking him off the objective, and it's taking him further away from all of the action to go over there to just kill a character. I don't know whether
I maybe would have strung out. I maybe put 3 in and strung some out to get myself some movement.
Yeah,
maybe?
Exactly. Yeah, I think so.
I mean, priority roll is coming up, so it's going to be a big deal on this one.
I suppose that if killing that character does mean that then he can cap this objective and move off it. But eels are so fast anyway. You're always going to be. If you want to make sure this objective is defended, you're going to need some models on there. You're going to need at least 3. So you can't just run off and leave it. So I don't see what the.
Well, I guess what it is if he gets I mean, he rolled it, so sometimes you get a little bit blindsided, but Chris might have been really smart here. What he's done is put that unit there. This unit has to either choose to go and take out the 6, which are the big threats, or take out the 3 and grab the objective. Then the counter punch comes. So what he's doing is he's saying, you need to make a choice. Do you want to score the points? Do you want to score? And the Soul Scryer's got the Cloud of Midnight.
Yeah, so he can't even attack.
Well. Wow, so the Soul Scryer's got the Cloud of Midnight, which is it's an artifact. And what artifacts are, some characters are allowed an artifact. You're not allowed many in your army most of the time. And then effectively what it does is he's allowed to turn it on once. He descends a magical veil of midnight power. And you can't, in a phase, you can't target him. So a shooting phase, a magic phase, a combat phase. Yep. So that, maybe he's just looking to turn it off, but that's a wasted move.
Yeah, because now, if Luke wins, or even if Chris wins the priority, he's going to be stuck in combat here. Actually, no, he could be able to pile in the hero phase with Deadwatch and kill it then.
You don't need a hero nearby to do it?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
but I think the crypt there it is, the infernal courtier anyway. So he is within range
to do it.
So he could do that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a nice list, Blisterkin is. It's something I've always wanted to play.
Very mobile.
It's mobile. It's tricksy. It's kind of unique in the way it's dealing its damage as well.
I really enjoy the shooting to movement. Like the shooter screen charge in is a really fun mechanic.
Yeah.
But the problem is some of the most pervasive threats in the world at the minute, Tzeentch and OCR Bone Reapers as an example, very high bravery.
Yeah. Yeah, and this list, there are definitely builds where you can do damage to even bravery 10 units, but this one doesn't seem to be built around the screams.
100%. Just jumping over to game 2 just for a moment. This game is going to be the one that's the slog, I think, because it's armies that can recycle against 3+ rerollable saves.
Yeah,
it's going to take a while.
Who can also recycle
and are immune to battle shock.
Yeah,
who can heal in. Yeah.
So,
but this unit of Chain Rasp, much depleted, but as you pointed out, not dead, which is what you're aiming for, right? I'd love to know.
Unfortunately, Tony is he is going to be immune to battle shock because of the Nagash command ability, so he can't even hope for a battle shock to take them off, because definitely what Tony would have wanted here is to just lose that unit completely, so then he can move Nagash over, hopefully get in range of... there's a gravesite there, so yeah, he could probably get over there and then just bring these Chain Rasps back in their entirety, whereas now he's going to be stuck.
He is going to be
stuck there.
So I'd like to know what everyone in the chat, or if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, who you think is going to take out this game, or most importantly, who you're rooting for. A lot of people, obviously, I got to tell you, my heart is in it for JP. I would say this time and again. Tony Moore as a gamer is one of my favourite gamers to watch. He's precise. He's like he's not a glitz and glamour gamer a lot of the time, but like his games of Warhammer are very, very precise. Like if I was going to war, I'd want him to be my general.
Yes, yeah. He's very meticulous, very studious. You can see just how neat he keeps all of his stuff in the backfield here. He's got his little book where he writes everything. He writes everything that happens. He writes down all of any sort of anything that your opponent has, let's say summoning points, command points, any sort of once per game abilities. He'll write them all down in his book before the game, and he'll cross them off when you use them. So there's no sort of there's no pulling the wall over his eyes.
None at all. But my heart's
great bookkeeping.
I won't lie, my heart's in it for JP. My heart is in it for JP.
Yeah.
That big decision to just go after Nagash.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he's got a destruction player right in the heart of him. That's how I feel. I feel like he's not a death player. I feel like he's a destruction player who knows his worth. Yeah,
definitely. And he's been up and floating around near the podiums for a while now, hasn't he, JP? He was playing Slaanesh before this, while Slaanesh were at the height of their
power.
Let's say, yeah.
Which is only slightly less than the power they're at now.
Yes, yeah. But I don't think he's managed to get the big podium yet. And he seems to be always playing on 4-0 in the last game, and then gets pipped to the post. So it'd be nice for him to get that. Yeah.
So we're going over to table 1, almost. Chris is just into the charge phase now. He's the dogs have charged in. However, apparently he almost got himself caught up in the charge, because as you can see, he hasn't made a particularly big charge with the Terrorgeist. And you know what, talked about the armies all being spread out? He now can only, in the next turn, if he gets the priority, can only threaten there or there.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, if he does threaten this back, he's also got Volti. But if he does, Luke's dragged him in with 2 Eels and Volti that can go in there. Like, that's a solid place. The problem is all of those Eels, of which is only 9 left, have to go and deal with the rest of it. But they've got some good board control. So set up for the double, Chris has given himself... He's done okay. Maybe he'll see that as a positive. He'll see that as a good trade. He's away from the Arc Regent now. I don't know where the Arc Regent is on the board. I'll have to get that checked.
There by the...
He well could. So that plus
throne.
So that plus D3 attacks isn't going to go on the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, which. Yeah, so he's out. Unless is it 24 inches
for the extra attacks?
Yeah.
No, I think that's 18.
Okay, so he's out of range.
Yeah.
So he's not going to do anywhere near as much as he could. So realistically, I think it's even if Luke doesn't get the priority, I think he's in an okay place. I think Chris hasn't set himself up.
I think that the priority is not. It's not incredibly important here. Both players are in positions to capitalise, but then they're also both in positions where they're fairly safe from. It's not going to be decided by this next priority, I guess. Is
no, not at all.
No.
Not at all. So Kenya in the chat reckons FEC have this. We'll find out as we go into. This is still only turn 1. We'll find out as we go into turn 2 in a moment. Realistically, though, table 2's in the balance as well. We're still rolling out combats. This is going to take a while. We're seeing some more tech. Wow, some more tech actually have gone down. That is not what I would have expected. 3+ rerollable save. Oh no, these guys don't have the rerollable save.
They don't have the save.
They weren't given the save.
Yeah.
So, and Grimgas Reapers are really good, even though they are -1 to hit. They're really good against hordes. But
they're rerolling all hits.
But -1 to hit is massive against those. Really,
because they hit on 4s. So yeah, if you can get -1, they're only hitting on 5s.
But they do get rerolls if you've
they
got
reroll
enough.
everything. Yeah.
So that's that. But they've got rend of 1. It's not loads, but I'll take it. Gives you a 4+ rerollable save to the Petrifex. I don't think he's piled in yet, so I don't think you've seen him activate. We've seen this unit activate and take out some of the Grimgas, but we haven't seen him activate there. And the Cavalos at the top, engaged with the dogs, haven't activated. And I'm pretty certain that those dire wolves at the top are not long for. I mean, they're already not really in this world. They're of another world.
Yeah.
But we are finding out. No, so we found out that Tony has done
do that. Yeah.
So clever. He's set these up. Wow. So we've seen that he's piled in and attacked. Can we also talk about this as well? So he's in his attack phase, he's piled in, secured this objective. What he's also done is he's got himself, I'm almost certain, within 6 inches of that character hidden behind the plinth, meaning that while it looks like he can't make himself immune to battle to shock. Oh, does Nagash's commander ability just make everyone immune to battle shock?
Board wide immune to battle shock.
Board wide. Well, never mind. I was like, double clever play. He is the supreme Lord of Death. But wow,
that's huge.
Tony has got no command points because Catacross stole his
command point, which is massive as well. We didn't hear that before, and that's huge because it means that he can wipe out turns now, and because he's stolen that one. It's given Tony the choice now every single turn of whether to put the command ability up, or whether to save it and bring back a unit.
Yes.
So that's really big. And if JP can steal the command point in the next turn as well, then Tony's utility is going to really suffer. I think he's going to take away a lot of his options. JP's in a good position here.
I think JP's in a really solid position, but I think we've just seen a priority roll on table 1. Just waiting to hear back. I think the rolls happened, but it's who rolled it and who got the decision, because it looks very, very close.
Luke is looking like he won, I think, by the faces on those
players.
No,
he's just rolled. Luke won the priority roll, 6-2. The big question is whether he'll take it. The big question is whether or not he'll take it. That's what you need to ask yourselves. Hello, Donaldinho's wife. She's unimpressed. This is the only TV. Please give us some love. How are you? Hope you're well.
Hi, Mrs. Grot Terrorist. How are you doing?
Mrs. Grot Terrorist, you need to tell us whether you think Luke should take the turn. Interesting fact, his wife, Luke's wife, is sat table side.
She is, yeah. With a huge goblet of fancy-looking drink.
A huge goblet of fancy wine.
Here to support the man himself on his path to victory.
Yeah. to make sure he could do it.
So we're still waiting to see if Lucas he's still trying to decide whether he wants to take the turn or not. It is a tough choice. It's not a definite.
Wow. Okay.
So he opted not to pile in for a second time, using Feeding Frenzy with the Terrorgeist, because that eel looks like it only has got 1 or 2 wounds left. I was hoping the dogs. He's taken 3 wounds, so he had 1 wound left, and then he hoped that the dogs could kill that. That's dogs or direwolves have 2 attacks each, hitting on 4s and 4s. So there's a bit of a risk really, because you're going to be hitting with 3. You might only be hitting with 1 or 2, and then that's got a 4-up save. So he's 3-up save because it's in cover now as well.
Here we
so
go.
yeah, that was a bit of a risk.
I agree. Listen, if you can't wargame, Mrs. Grotteris, you should come and wargame with Donal. Look how excited you could look as that game occurs. Yeah, you could hold a giant pint of wine, and watch your hubby play Warhammer. That sounds like a great day out. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, I'd do that.
Kirsty, her name is.
Hi, Kirsty. How's
not
things?
Mrs. Grotteris.
Right, so Luke has done his hero phase, and he hasn't. Luke's WGO mum says, kill them all, son. Okay, I'll tell you. He's no hero phase. It's all into movement and what he's going to do here.
Yep, so Luke has taken the turn.
Yeah, and look at those eels. Those eels, he couldn't get those eels towards that Terrorgeist faster.
Yeah, he didn't think about that at all, did he?
So he's gone over there.
Yeah.
I think. Do you think he's going to bring Volti? Is that what he's going to do? I can't believe that there's 1 eel left.
Yeah.
That's huge. Did the eel do any electric shocks?
It's less.
The 1 eel that were Unit 3 did 1 wound to the Terrorgeist here.
It's less. It's less crucial now because he's taken the turn, because either he leaves him in combat there to do some damage, or he retreats him off. So it's not as big as if Luke had given the turn away here, then the Terrorgeist and the Direwolves would have been trapped in combat there. I mean, they could have shot off that last wound. The Terrorgeist could have shot off the last wound, but shooting happens after the movement phase, so the Terrorgeist would have been trapped there. And because this guy's trapped down here as well, because these flayers are trapped in the bottom corner here against that Soul Scryer, I would have potentially given the turn away, really.
Yeah, I said that, but then he's got a lot of output available. And I agree the counterpunch could hurt, but he's got this objective. This is his again. So points wise, he's gone and got versus Chris scored 2 last turn. So this so it's 4-2. Luke's going to get himself another 4 points and put himself 8-2 ahead. He might also go and grab this objective, which it looks like he's going to do there. And if he gets that, and he could also put the thralls in here, take out the dogs.
Take that objective.
So that's going to give him. So that gives him 3, 6. That gives him 8 points for a big swing. Now, obviously, he can hit back, but at this point, the only things to hit back are the Gulkin and Terrorgeist in D6, so they can hit back here and they can hit back here.
But that's still only going to score him 2.
That only scores him 2. Even on the double, they can move there. They can't move all the way to the top, so he's still in a really good position. So by here, he's really pushed the game over till turn 4, turn 5.
Yep.
And he's still got back pocket. He's back pocketed 2 eels here at the back and Volti. Some good plays. He's still got the other big play that you're missing. Well, not you're missing, but we could be missing as a group, is he's still got these eels and all these to move off the objectives and compete. Ether Wings come over and grab them, but we need to not forget that Chris has got his back pocket summons as well. Although he's got 2 of those.
He used those ones, that would be from the Terrorgeist, so those three horrors there. He's still got 20 from the 20 ghouls from the Archregent here, but actually if you look, there are 3 eels. Those 3 eels here have jumped over, and it looks like they're going to go for the Archregent. And if they can kill him in this turn, then he has taken out not only the Archregent, he's taken out 20 ghouls as well, potentially.
And actually, that is huge.
That's
a
big swing.
Especially if he can charge in here and electrocute. I mean, the Archregent's got 7 wounds, super tanky.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go for that guy, you just go for him.
But he takes out the 20 ghouls as well. That's a big play.
Yeah. And he takes out both his spells, all of his plus attacks.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, this is a good.
Eyeballs.
This is a good shout from Luke taking this turn. Then, yeah,
really good eyeballs.
He's using it really well. Yeah.
Right. So let's go see what the game state is on table 2. So on table 2, JP's had his second turn. Won the priority, takes the second turn. We've gone into Tony's turn now, and we're seeing heals going in. We're seeing these grave sites here, so that he knew the combat was at least going to happen here. So he's looking to, maybe he didn't care about resin units. Maybe he just wanted to keep putting units back into the chain rasps and the Grimghast. Like you said, you've been walking around all weekend. There's at no point has Tony not had most of his army available.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think we need the scores updating on both tables, maybe.
Oh only on this one. The other one's updated now.
Oh, is it
4-2?
Oh, I see. Yeah, 4-2. So I think JP would have scored 6 then. Oh no, because he didn't get this one here, so he would have just scored 4. So it'd be 10-4 at the moment. But I don't think Tony's got the summon or the regen to be able to retake this one here. And I think the Grimghasts aren't even scoring. So Tony is probably only going to score 2 again. Or he's only going to score 2 this turn and go to 6. So at the end of this turn, it should be 10-4 to JP.
So one of the things that so Luvo in the chat is saying he thinks JP was spread out on combats and got greedy. I disagree because what he's doing.
Yeah, he's not spread out on combats. He's sitting on the objectives, isn't he?
And he's also whittling this down so he's got less output, and he's also whittling this down so he's got no output. Because if you just nuke a unit, they get brought back to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly how you want to play. You want to spread out. You don't want to kill them. You want to be keeping them there so that they're only bringing them back.
Look at that chain summoning.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at that old school Warhammer. So he's using the grave sites to put models back in. Yeah. So when he piles in, this is what. Oh my God! This is just pure gold. Can we just? I talked about how good Tony is.
Yep.
So he piles in combat, piles in towards the closest model. There we go. He's just shut down the shooting.
Yeah, because they won't be. Or they won't. He'll still be able to shoot the chain rasps.
Oh, okay. So he can target.
Yeah, you need to. If you want to completely shut down the shooting, you need something wholly within 6 because it has a 6 to 36 inch range. And so if something is wholly within 6 of there, just one model or a unit of 5, then it can't shoot at all. But what he's doing here is he's stopping this crawler from being able to shoot Nagash, which means maybe he can be a little bit more aggressive, get him back over here onto the grave sites.
Or maybe he's going to do both, right? Maybe he's going to be equidistant. He's going to put 1 3 inches away. And then if he does that effectively, I mean, this is ludicrous. This is so funny. And then, what he's done here is he might be able to shut both down. Then Nagash can actually pop out. That's cool as
death shenanigans. Yeah, it's good. I love to see death armies played like this.
Yes, of course. He also will score the objectives as well, which is obviously fantastic.
Okay, which means he would score 4 this turn instead. Then, so it's keeping him in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. It's some big plays, right? Should we go find out if any of these charges have happened on table 1? Let's go and see. Not yes. Look, there we go.
Oh no, it doesn't. Doesn't look like any charges. Used the command point. He nicked it.
Okay.
Oh, big. Back on table 2 then. Nagash has nicked the Catacross has nicked the command point. So Tony is going to be stuck on no CP for this turn, so he's not going to be able to use his Supreme Lord of the Undead. So that's not going to be any reroll saves, not going to be any reroll hits, not going to be any immune to battle shock, and he doesn't have a CP in the pocket to bring back any of these. I can't finish that sentence. I forgot what it was.
Right, it's really good though.
Yes, okay. So Nagash is stuck casting Mystic Shields now because he doesn't have the reroll ones from.
Because Catacross stole his command point.
2 turns in a row.
Two turns in a row, so he's not able to do it. Also, that's huge for whittling down these units. So actually, Luvo could have been correct. Had he focused a unit and wiped them out, those command points, which are sparse, he wouldn't have been able to generate those units back.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he's He's put himself into the position where he can do that now by stealing those 2 command points, but he didn't know whether that role was... I think he played it right. He played it right in the first turn. You don't know whether you're going to steal that command point, and the threat of that unit coming back in its entirety is worse than... Although maybe in this case it's probably not, because he's rolled really well on all these grave sites and managed to come down here and steal an objective and take it out.
So as we're going for this, long hero phase, we've just seen the portals cast, and we've just seen Hand of Dust go through, but it was not cast because he doesn't have the casting bonuses now because he lost 14 wounds.
Yes.
In the first shooting phase, which is madness. And just jumping back quickly to table 1, you'll see the charges in here. He's definitely piled in the thralls into the dogs. He's piled in there's 3 more eels. They've come off the centre, and we've done the replace like we've talked about. The 8th wings have gone on the objectives, and then he's put the 1 solo, 1 wound eel at the back. Chris is going to be miffed he didn't take that to hold that back objective. He's piled in there into those, and I think we're going to see this. And we've also seen the Arch Regent tagged. It could be a massive combat phase coming up when we get to it.
Has he though? Because the Arch Regent is there, isn't it?
Well,
is he still rolling charges?
Oh, maybe he hasn't elected to charge on that top bit.
No, he's still rolling charges.
Still rolling charges.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to see how those charges go and the combat in a moment. But before that, we're going to go to our man in the field, Owen, who needs no introduction because he's a hero, and we'll see what he's got to say about Sheffield Slaughter 2020.
Cheers, Rob. Yep, thank you very much. Yeah, I've been looking around these top tables again. I've got a nice story. Well, not nice for somebody. I've got a story from one of the heroes of the Slaughter Saturday, which was Lee Bromley with his jello shots and his, I don't know what his outfit was. But yeah, essentially he had a great time. He basically killed 80% of the Bone Reaper's army he was facing, including killing Nagash on turn 1. He went in and just piled out. He didn't obviously screen very well, the Nagash player, but he just completely obliterated the army and gave his opponent the full Stonehorn experience. Somebody else who's currently having that experience is Matt Robertson. He's given it to Declan Waters on table 8. Declan's Big War has just taken an absolute pasting. The game's not over, but he's run out of models, and after some early good Big War board control, the Stonehorns went in and just absolutely brutalized everything. I've got a result for you. Man from the stream, we had him on earlier, I believe it was yesterday. Everything's getting a little bit blurred. But Joe Purcell, he's got himself a lovely 4-1 by beating Thomas Waller's Ogres. He tabled it in 3 turns. Played really well, to be fair. And I think Thomas said it was only the 2nd time that his army's been tabled. So, Joe getting a great win there. Ben Smith and James Boots, the KO versus the Ogres. Ben's only got 1 boat left, and James has got 7 Ogres, 2 Iron Blasters, and a few Cats. They're on turn 3, so I think that's going to be outside of the boat. Ben does still have some Arcanauts left, but that's I don't know. I think that's going to go to James maybe in the end. After some good early play from Ben, I think he's just running out of guns. Mike Stewart's Fire Slayers. I looked over at Nick and Nick Thompson, that is, Mr. WS10, with his Living City, and he just shook his head and said, well, I can't really say what he said because it's a bit blue for Sunday afternoon, but he's got a newfound hatred of Fire Slayers, which are just fantastic on focal points. Another Fire Slayers player over my shoulder who I think is going to win out is Mr. Andy Hughes. The Eels didn't kill enough on high tide, and Andy's been able to hit back hard. I really do think that should be Andy's as they roll it out there. So, I think Andy's going to get the 4-1. Greg Shelton and Gabe Huddleston, that's a real ding-dong again over my other shoulder here. The Ghoul King on Terrorgeist is dead, the Maw Crusher's dead, but there's a big Flayer blob and there's a big Brute blob. And outside of that, there are still quite a lot of Ard boys left. So if I was going to be a betting man, I think Gabe might take that in the late game with a cheeky Hand of Gork, maybe get some boys over onto the back. Liam Jordan and Tom Fretwell, they continue to grind that out. I really do think that, Mortek Guard are going to outgrind Eels, so I reckon Liam's going to take that for his OBR. And then Alex Bruce and Mark Wildman finally on table 4. Alex's KO against Mark Zinch with Archaon. It's super tight. I just think Archaon's going to be the extra special sauce on that matchup, which he doesn't want to engage with it with his boats, but Mark's had him bang in the centre of the table. We can't get away from him. So I think with that, I'm going to pass you back to the top tables, pass you back to Rob and Benjamin, who are going to bring you all the hot action from tables 1 and also table 2. Here you go.
Honestly, fall in love with him
back.
every time he says anything.
Oh,
Hello, welcome to the Sheffield Slaughter 2020. That was Mr. Owen Jackson. You can find him in your hopes and dreams that you're that awesome. We're on table 1. And just to let you know what happened in the charge phase, we saw the Eels go into the Arc region just like you wanted, Benjamin, in the bottom left.
Yep.
We've seen Zaps already go into there. There's going to be a whole bunch of Zaps. Now, this might look like there's not any engagement, but the Gulking on Terrorgeist, I don't think is engaged. The Thralls are, but these 3 Eels are. Voltronuses, they're all connected at the moment. It's just
all
the boats,
just to the dogs,
boats
yeah.
kind of in the way. But there's some fun, janky movement shenanigans. And over on the left,
only 1 wound to the Arc region, which means he's going to need to, with the Zaps that is, so he's going to need to do that in combat. He's down to 6 wounds now. He needs to kill him this turn. Oops, excuse me. He needs to kill him this turn because he heals flat 3 wounds every turn. And if he survives now, that means 20 ghouls are coming on the table this turn because he can't afford to wait until he's, there's eels everywhere now, so he can't afford to wait until turn 3. He's got to bring those summons down this turn if he survives.
I mean, it's looking rough. Like
Yep.
he's still got the big unit, 6 flares here, pocket picks. Yeah, but look, he's just everywhere. And that's the problem. They deep strike their movement 16. So this unit that you see here, the beginning of the turn, they started there, Benjamin. Then they were there, and then they're here. He's just MSUing all over the place. Here to here to here. That's where we're going, and it's just so much. It's just a lot. Right, over into table 2, where there's just more of a lot. This unit of Chain Rasps have actually... Do you know what Chain Rasps do, Benjamin?
What do they do?
They fly.
They fly.
And because they fly, they were here.
And they've retreated.
And they've retreated over the top of the Mortec. There's been a 3-inch gap there. They're now chained out, and they've grabbed this back objective because they've retreated. He's grabbed 2 objectives. The Mortec have got the centre, although I'm not sure if they're outnumbering at the moment. But the Grimghasts are still involved there in this fight against these Mortec. Nagash has swung around here. Looks like he's playing shy. Oh no, and the Grimghasts have also outnumbered.
So he's retreated with the Grimghasts as well. He's got enough of these guys who were on the end here into the centre to take the centre, which means Tony is going to be scoring 3 for these 2, 2 for that one, and 1 for that one.
So this is a you and Leo style. This is not engaging in the game.
Yeah, this is not fighting the enemy. Yeah,
this is you, Nathan, and Leo securing the gold.
Yep.
Yeah,
all about the gold.
All
That's
about
it, exactly.
the gold.
Retreat out of combat. You don't need to be that fight. He's not going to win that fight. There's no point staying in combat with a unit of Mortec Guard there. He's got, he doesn't have CP. He can't afford to just leave units in combat now because he doesn't know whether he's going to be able to bring them back next turn. And even if it's for 1 turn that unit of Chain Rasps or Grimghasts are off the board until he can get a CP to bring them back, that's a big swing in JP's favour. And by doing that, he's going to even up the scores 10-all now. So
to explain some basics on how you score objectives in Age of Sigmar, unless the scenario changes it, it's one of those. That's huge. So over here, there's an objective. Now, what you have to do, 6 inches from the centre, you get as many bodies on the board to secure it. Now, it counts as models, not units. So he's got 5 models here, and he's got 3 or 4 models there, and he's got more models than his opponent. So 1 unit, as you can see, can control more than 1 objective, and that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Now,
so 1 model can't control 2 objectives, but a different model from each unit can.
Yeah. So we're moving.
It's going to be the priority there.
Priority
coming up.
A big priority role coming up on table 2. But before we do that, let's quickly talk about some combats. In an Arc region, he sent in 3 eels. He's electrocuted him, and he's charged him with 3 offensive acute eels.
1 wound with the zaps, which is 2 less than average, because they should do 1 each on average. And
but He's got 7 wounds that art region. He heals 3 a turn.
He was flat 3 a turn.
Flat 3 a turn. So in 2 turns he'll be healed back to life because he's alive.
He's alive. 1 point, 1 wound left on him, and that is massive because that means 20 ghouls can come on here. They can challenge that objective. These flayers can come over here, clear off those, which means that he might be able to score all of these points because otherwise Luke is going to be scoring big this turn. He's going to score everything.
He's scoring everything this turn,
and he's going to score the 3, 6, 8 points. He's going to go to 12. Chris is only on 2. If those ghouls couldn't come on here and challenge this objective, Chris could probably score.
It's so important.
2 points
it's
max.
so important that didn't die. That might actually change the shape of the game.
He's got to kept him in it.
And he's got to be gutted. Now the cool thing about the throne is he's put the Art Regent on it, so he's now got +1 save. Yeah, so that Art Regent, I think they have a 3-up save. I'm not 100. I'll double check that. But either way, he's got. So he's either on a 3-up or
4-up.
He's either on a 3-up or 2-up save. He's super tanky. So that's what would have kept him alive. Hilarious that he's on 1 wound, but that's put a game on for all of us.
I think if the Arch Regent had died there, you could.
There's not many plays.
Yeah.
Yes. So what the Art Regent also can do by being alive is he can pile and attack twice. He's not banned in combat. He also can make flayers that are wholly within 12, looking at you flayers that are there. And pile and attack twice because of the command ability. Because of Feast Day. So those eels that are in the centre, the 2 eels that we went in, we were like, oh, they are going to have a good day. They now are going to have.
Yeah, so he's no slouch in combat as well. He's got 7 attacks. He's 3s and 3s, -1 rend. He could pile in twice.
So. I just want to correct Smoke Trees in the chat. One unit can control all of the units on the board if it needed to, if it had enough models to do so. It's about models that are there.
It's about individual models. Yeah,
individual models, just so we're all so we don't. Okay, so the flayers here have piled in and attacked twice into the eels, but they've only killed 1.5. So 2 of the eels still alive. They've charged, so they're way more offensive.
Yeah.
And then the flayers have only got a save of a 5+, so they're going to go down. I need to talk about what happened on table 2, because on table 2 we've had the priority roll happen, and JP has won it
6-2.
Yeah, look at that. It's turn 2. It's a flat draw. It's Catagros versus his boss Nagash. Catagros is there. Nagash is there. They're eyeballing each other across the battlefield, and they have got nothing but minions between them. However, there is a Gothazar Harvester here, and there is a Liege Cavalos somewhere as well.
How many wounds is Nagash on now?
That is a great question.
Still going to be
low?
Yeah. Because so he's got 4 wounds left, so he's
very susceptible to a good catapulting.
To a good catapult.
Come
he needs one. He needs one
JP to do it. Yeah, JP's got to do it. It's really big.
If he can shoot them off in the hero phase, then he can just start going ham onto the units and just trying to kill them then, because there's no way they can come back. You're not relying on Catacross in that CP.
No, look at also he also retreated. Tony retreated last turn with his Reapers. Just again the movement. So even if he loses the Reapers this turn from the Mortek going in and the Liege Cavalos going in, he can either elect to lose this half, giving him access to the backfield, or he can lose this half. And then cut off access to the backfield. And if he does, it's just really clever play. He's just making it so they're not going very far.
Yep.
Even though he lost the priority, they're still not getting onto this objective. Honestly, I could watch Tony play Warhammer all day.
Yeah, that was a fantastic turn.
Just
Tony.
Wicked Warhammer.
Really, really good stuff.
Really good. Really, really, really good. Just wicked. And then he's got this Nagash to if he gets charged up, eventually get in here maybe.
Well, if he probably want to start. Well, if he's got no real way of healing though. But
that first turn shooting phase was so huge.
It's massive because he could be because if he had the power output, he could just start machine gunning that Gothos Harvester there. It's only got 10 wounds. It's only got a 6-up save against mortals, so he could probably take that off in a turn, which means then Tony could start getting more aggressive with this unit here, because then they're not going to be. Or they're going to be coming back a lot less. than they would do.
It's just
with the
just
Harvester.
honestly wild. It's honestly wild. Like at this point, and this is tough for me. I don't know. I feel like it's JP's with the priority roll, with the shooting to come in. I feel like it's JP's. He's lost. It looks like now that there are no more tech gone. Not forgetting that Catacross can put models back into a unit, so he can do it that way. The Gothazar Harvester can also do the same thing, although he didn't get into combat last turn. You know, he might even send the Gothazar Harvester around in to try and punk Nagash. Wow, that's a big bone tithe. Yeah. If you're going to collect some bones, collecting the bones from the Lord of Death is a really bold move.
You scorch yourself a new Mortok.
This is a death civil war that we've got on our hands.
I don't know what the Gothester Harvester is armed with, but he's
not with the scythes, I imagine, with the punches.
Yeah, with the punchy things. But he's pretty. He's no slouch in combat.
He's not great.
If he fails to do the catapult damage there, he should be able to take him out in combat with the Harvester. So what he's doing is he's just he's hedging his bets. You know, he doesn't want to just rely on Nagash failing that save.
So the Gothazar Harvester is moving across the terrain, and he's just taken D3 mortal wounds,
so
or a mortal wound.
Again
from the terrain.
A big impact on this table, yeah. And interestingly, they decided not to roll mystical terrain on. They both decided not to roll mystical terrain on the top table, Luke versus Chris.
Yes.
And if they had any idea of what an impact it was having on table 2,
maybe they'd be interested in doing it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not certain how much Chris does play, but Chris may be not as interested. I can see it being a daunting extra bit of rules on top if you're not playing loads. But Chris is playing a cracking game of Warhammer, so he deserves at least mentioning. Talking about that game and game 1, look, there are no dogs. Oh no, sorry, that's not true. There are two hounds right there, and most importantly, there is only 2 flayers, which is pretty big. Two flayers have been lost. 1 flayer left.
So yeah, what that means then is he can start bringing back flayers from this guy. So actually, because he can only bring back within 10. So it depends whether that is 10 there.
Is Luke going to have been like just lost by having not done 1 wound there? Because in the next turn, which Chris definitely gets, he just 100% heals 3 onto that. So, but we have heard that the dire wolves are in a dire situation because they're all dead, and they.
What's left to attack over there? Do we wonder? Is it taken? Was it the thralls that have killed the dogs, and Volturnos killed the last 2? So are these 2 units of eels still able to pile in because they charged into the dogs and start fighting?
How many units are left to activate is the real question. We'll get that.
Is he going to do that? Yeah,
in a moment.
So he is. So that's 1 unit going into the
Wow,
terrorist.
Okay. So there we go. So because, again, like we talked about earlier, if you pile in, if you charge, you can still pile in even if there's nothing, even if the unit that you charged is dead in front of you. So that's 3 eels able to go into the Ghoul King and Terror guys. Some of those sword attacks on the charge are Ren 2.
Yep.
So
he's only got 6 up save.
He's only got a 6 up save.
It's 2 damage each.
I don't think he's got anything like.
Don't think he's got enough to kill it with 3 eels, but it depends whether this other 3 here have activated.
He hasn't got unholy vigor on it either.
He doesn't, no.
Luke just really showing why he's the Achillean king in this situation.
Absolutely, yeah. He is playing a fantastic game here.
So, I mean, even whittling down the Ghoul King and Terrorgeist, I mean, the Ghoul King and Terrorgeist is dangerous even
on 1 wound.
Even on 1 wound because of that more attack. So, yeah, we're hearing that combat is happening now, eels into the Terrorgeist. But it's very, very tight. I can't wait to find out what's going to happen in that shooting phase and whether or not that shooting phase is going to go off again for JP and target Nagash.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He's got. I think he's got the harvester there as insurance now, but I think we want to see Nagash killed.
We do. We want those
entirely
harvesters
by catapults.
We 100% do. At this point, it's just a meme. Look, it's gone.
He's gone.
What?
Three eels killed the Terrorgeist. Wow, because he'd only taken 1 wound. So they've done 13 wounds on the charge there.
Wow. So that's all the threats gone. Ladies and gentlemen, this game is all but over. There is 6 flayers left. We talked about it. In the Flesh Eater Court's army, there were 3 real threats. There was a unit of 6 flayers. They went in the first turn.
Yep.
In the second turn, he's gone and done. Look at that. Look at the multi-charge with the piling. Don't forget they've also got a 2-inch sword range as well on their lances.
Yep.
So we've seen the Ghoul King and Terrorgeist go down. And now there's just the 6 flayers. And while those 6 flayers I think are good, they're up against 3 eels here, 3 eels there. He's just
still 6 eels over there in Volturnos.
Yeah.
He doesn't. What else does he have? Where are the 3 horrors that got summoned? Are they dead now?
So the 3 horrors are at the top, I think.
Behind Luke's head, aren't they? Actually, yeah. He's just ignored them.
Okay, so
okay.
They
So
could,
the
the
3
3
horrors
horrors
are
could
there.
come into play, and also the ghouls can still into play as well. And as much as all of this, do you know what? There's still a game. There's still a game
Absolutely
here.
still a game.
There's
yeah.
still a game.
I love this move up here because he's just put the Aether Wings there, so the horrors can't start coming over here and taking out that or looking to take that objective. And so he's probably going to want to come this way, but he just doesn't have anything to threaten this side of the board here. Luke doesn't. Chris doesn't. Sorry. And yeah, he can get through this in this turn, but he needs the ghouls to come on and to make this charge so that at the very minimum he can score 3 points. But he's still only going to put him 12-5 behind. He's gonna be on 7. Luke is just playing a fantastic objective game again. He's sitting on all of the objectives here in turn 2, which
And then playing the game on the objectives as well.
Yeah, which is just great. Like you can get onto all of the objectives in focal points, but maybe not until turn 4 or 5. To get on there in 2 is fantastic. Yeah,
in 2.
Yeah, scoring,
by being given the first turn.
Yeah.
I know we're banging on, but all of these gamers are playing some solid games. Let's have a look at the movement phase. Let's see what JP's decided to do with his movement, because I've been super impressed previously. So as you can see here, he's decided to move the Liege Cavalos in the centre. He's also decided to take this unit in here, and he's just doing some. We're still waiting for the shooting phase to come up. So while we're waiting for the shooting phase to come up, we're going to go over to our man in the field, Owen. He's with one of my favourite people in the whole world. Lovely, lovely man, Mr. Joe Purcell. We saw play on the stream earlier. Get to talk to them both right now.
Thanks a lot, Rob. Cheers, Benjamin. I've got Joe here with me. You've just come off another win, haven't you? How'd your last game go?
So I won my last game, so I finished the tournament on 4 major wins and 1 major loss. And I only lost to Chris Green, who's currently on table 1 playing for the tournament, so I'm really happy with that.
Fantastic. And Rob's going mental in the booth. I think he's happy for you as well. So, there's a lot of goodwill in the area at the moment.
Oh, mate, try and be nice and you get back what you give out, don't you?
Exactly. Life is a mirror, right? You always get back what you give out. So the list, obviously we saw it on the stream a couple of times, actually. Were we on the stream twice?
Yeah,
so I'm sure.
twice.
Yeah, so I'm sure the viewers know what it does. But for the uninitiated, give it to me in like a couple of sentences. What does your army do?
Okay, so it's a Cities of Sigmar army, and it's got a lot of Pistoliers and a couple of units of Outriders. And it's a 2-drop, which means you always have the choice of going first or second, or well, almost always. And effectively, it does a lot of damage and short-range shooting. All of the shooting attacks have rend, so it's very good against like Zinch, and it's also particularly good against like OBR at the moment because OBR can only reroll their saves in combat phase, and my army does all its damage in the shooting and charge phase.
Amazing. So did you design it with obviously the meta in mind, or was it more based on the models? What's your sort of methodology for coming up with a list?
I generally don't really care much about models at all. I just more prefer like list ideas. It's something that I've been chatting about with Gary Percival and Tom Maudsley. To be fair to Gary and Tom, they did most of the work with it. My list is slightly different to the one that Tom ran at a tournament in Belgium a few weeks ago. I've just changed the sort of the numbers in each different unit. I prefer more Outriders, so I bumped one of my units of 5 Outriders up to 10.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And is there any like secret tech in there, or are you going to keep it all to yourself?
No, it's pretty straightforward. You just have to play around the priority carefully, and I think more than ever in kind of top table Warhammer, just need to make sure you score the objectives. You've got to forget about killing your opponent's army sometimes and make sure you bag those points when you get
Go
them.
for the gold, yeah. Go for the gold.
Go for the gold, mate. Absolutely.
And you think you're going to run with it in future tournaments?
Yeah, definitely. I just had a little baby, so I'm not doing as many tournaments as I would like to do. But if I had another one in the next few weeks, then I'd definitely run that back out. But who knows what the meta will look like in a couple of months' time.
Probably have another 6 battle tomes, yeah.
Yeah, probably another 6 battle tomes we can't keep up with.
GW. Yeah. So I'm not sure. Rob, are you ready for us to go back to you, or should we just chinwag for a bit longer? He's a lovely man, isn't he? So yeah, I think Benjamin, look at that, like Superman coming out of his booth. He's back. He's ready. I think we're ready to talk about the top tables. So with that, cheers, Joe. Anyone you want to say hello to?
Yeah, I just want to give a big shout out to the Honest Wargamer.
Of course. Yes, on brand. What a hero. Cheers. Cheers.
Right, we're back because we're in the shooting phase, and after 3 shots from the crawler went into Gash on the first turn and took off 14 wounds. Can the crawlers do it again? He's only if Tony rolls any 2s on these saves. So he's decided.
20
Wow.
chain rasps he shot off with the
20
first.
chain rasps have got all of the shots hit, all of the shots wounded, and then Tony has rolled. It's only a 5-up save. He doesn't get to ignore any of it, and that is
he's got no reroll ones because he doesn't have the he doesn't have the command trait up.
Yeah, command ability up, and then he also no deathless minions because it's not within range. No, so that's just a flat 20 damage. That's
half
huge.
the unit.
Half the unit
More
in
than
one.
half the
That's
unit.
from one catapult. We haven't had the second
in
catapult
one
shoot
turn.
yet. Like, we haven't had it yet.
Well, maybe he's just not going to shoot a Nagash now. Maybe he's just going. Nagash has only got 4 wounds. Maybe
it's
maybe
probably
just rely on the
It's
harvester.
probably a much smarter play if he decides not to. But I've had a great time. A big shout out to Bob Monkey Cheese in the chat. Walisa 2011. Anyone watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, if you're tweeting me. If you're just watching live right now, let us know if you're enjoying yourself. You should be enjoying yourself. Let us know what's happening. This is an incredible game of Warhammer. You should be having both games are incredible.
Both games are incredible.
Both games.
Yeah, absolutely. So just checking the profile out for the Gothis Harvester, and it has. If it's got the bludgeons, that is. If Table Boss can find out what weapons are on the Harvester, actually. But either way, it should be 6 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. -2 and 2 damage, so he just needs 2 of those to go through to kill Nagash at the moment.
He does.
And Nagash is going to be on a 5-up save against those. He's not re-rolling ones. Oh, actually, he did cast Mystic Shield on himself, so he will be re-rolling those ones.
However, jumping over to table 1. Look what's happened in this combat phase. The six players have gone into the 3 hills looking to save the Arc region. Another one of the flayers has been returned, so he's looking to clear this side of the board before he tries to engage in there. But Chris very much needing to get this not only this turn but the next turn. Look at that points difference at the minute, 12-2, 10 points in it. He's got to get over there after the priority roll, but then he's got to get somehow. Okay. Oh, so we've just seen the second catapult is firing over. 2 at Nagash and 1 at the chain rasps.
One hit against Nagash, 1 wound.
1 wound against Nagash. Wow.
Oh.
So it went through. So it went through on Nagash. The catapult again went through on Nagash. He made 2 of his 6-up saves, so he's down to 1 wound left.
Yeah, or he failed his save, made 2 of his 6-up death saves, so he's taken 3 wounds. He's on 1 wound. Yeah.
Just outrageous. Nick J. Fowler, thank you very much. Fenris Tabletop, thank you very much. Exactly. If you guys want to support the coverage, you can always jump onto the Honest Wargamer Patron at the moment. That's a great way to support us and chuck some money our way if you've enjoyed it. And I couldn't have done it this weekend without everyone else who's helped. So you've all been amazing. Benjamin, Owen, Matt, and Nathan. Scrivo in about Wallace, all you guys. It's a big team effort to bring you coverage this good. So thanks.
There's a couple of people keep asking about the Bone-Tide Nexus.
right there.
I'm just going to circle it. I'll leave it on screen there for a second. But yeah, it is right there, right in the centre, where it's almost always going to be, I think, if you play an OBR. Oh, we haven't seen Catacross
I don't think we've seen him in a fight.
I don't think we've seen him in a fight. He's normally too slow, sitting at the back, supporting and
But here he is right now.
there
He is
I
in.
know he does have 20 attacks, doesn't he, on his profile from all of the. If you total up the attacks of all the little minions.
He gets better if he gets more wounded.
And then he starts to fight as he gets more wounded. So the wounds that he takes in the beginning knocks off his attendant. So there's a guy carrying a little. There's a guy carrying a banner. There's a guy carrying a bird cage. There's a guy carrying a scroll, and then there's his little right-hand man, the samurai-looking dude. They all attack and they all die first. When they're all dead, Catacross steps down from the steps. He
descends.
He deems you worthy enough to fight himself, and then he steps down, and his attacks are obviously much better. -3 rend and 3 damage.
Yeah, very, very, very good. I'm super. And he's going into those chain rasps as well. So looking to take out those chain rasps.
Those chain rasps, of course, are not battle shock immune and don't have a hero near him. They've already lost 20.
Yeah,
So
Tony's
unit's gone.
having a rough time because of that shooting. JP's over the moon. His domination of that centre objective now is pretty total. He's going to struggle. Listen, Catacross, honestly, when I read about taking that 1 CP off someone, I'm like, okay, yeah, fair enough. But now I've seen an effect, and the fact that JP can't stop rolling 5+s in what is a pivotal game, he's made it so that there is no CP available, so no summons, no huge summons.
No, I think again, there's not many armies in the game, I think, that need their CPs as much as this, or not even lists, but specifically, there's not many lists in the game that need CPs as much as this list does.
No, you would say it doesn't work without CPU effectively.
Yeah.
Like it's inbuilt mechanic to do so. So going over to table 1 with the shooting phase for Blisterkin. Chris is rallying back after what was a very pivotal priority roll.
Okay, he's done exactly what we hoped. He's summoned on the 20 ghouls here.
He's made it a game. He's made it a game.
It doesn't look like he's. He must be within 9 now. So he needs that charge. He needs to clear off these eels. He needs to score these 2 to get to score at least 3.
So that gets him 3.
Yeah.
That puts him on 5. That still puts him 7 behind. With Luke,
could he even, if he rolls a 9-inch charge, send 1 that way? Probably not enough to pile in.
Well, it depends. If he rolls a 12,
if he rolls a 12,
that goes there. Piles in 3. Exactly right. He's on the
only
objective.
Needs 1 model there. Yeah.
Yeah. Not forgetting we're coming up to turn 3 though. What's the problem when we get to turn 3 though against Luke?
He is in high tide, so he cannot engage him in that turn without taking.
Without the always strikes first mechanic going in, the Idoneth Deepkin just be able to strike first, and while he's got this excellent shooting, he won't be able to go over and engage at all because it'll be always strikes first. Now these Ether Wings won't get that, but they're not particularly good in a fight anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No.
So these six flayers, they've taken out this eel. Right there, so they are in a strong place. That was in the combat phase and not the hero phase. I'll just get that double checked from our table boss.
Which that was
the flayers.
Oh, the flayers.
That was combat phase. I'm pretty certain.
No, they did the combat phase in the. No, that was shooting. That's shooting. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was shooting because this guy retreated. It's the hero down there, didn't he? So it's the charge phase now. So we're looking for a 9 up here. Otherwise.
So the horrors at the top. Make it a game. Let's get it. He needs to make it a game. Chris hasn't got any re-rolls. He's just got to roll a big natural 9. See if it. So this is the ghouls. He's also got the
horrors.
He's got the horrors here up against the Aether Wings. There we go. So the horrors into the Aether Wings and not the eel over there. It's only managed a 7. What Luke did in his turn. Moved the Aether Wings in front of the horror, so they had to step around, use their movement, and then they could never get that charge. Another great use, because really, what's really, really good about units in Age of Sigmar is you've got a 3-inch range. So he did that effectively. So his unit had to go around that because you can't get within 3. And the ghouls have not made the charge.
Failed their charge.
Which means he's not going to grab this
It's
objective.
massive. That's a 2-point difference there. Or, I mean, even as we pointed out, if he rolled even higher, he could have potentially got
4
that
points.
first one. Yeah,
Could have been 4 points.
5 even.
So yeah, the flayers at the bottom have moved their charge. That's what they're doing. Just make sure everything that's dead is off the table. Luke's doing a great job of that. Luke's army, by the way, also super pretty. He's got a painting knob. Like, it looks really nice.
Beautiful. I sat and looked at it for a while over lunch, and there's so many little details in there that you don't notice when it's on the tabletop. Like each of the musicians are holding these little shells that they use as like horns, and there's all kinds of like little extra bits in there. There's a real story being told, which is really nice. Yeah, especially to see from top table players like himself. Yeah.
So over into the combat phase, here we are seeing that unit of Mortek Guard of charge. They've piled in and they've hit the bottom unit of Reapers, and then Catacross, Liege Cavalos.
It's happening.
Oh, he's gone, the Gothazar Harvester.
Yep.
The Gothazar Harvester has taken Nagash off in the combat phase. Wow. That is a great job done there. I mean, he was struggling to recover ever since. Yeah. Struggling to recover since turn 1.
Yeah, it meant it completely changed his game plan with Nagash. I think, as you pointed out, all the grave sites were here. Nagash was set up here. If he didn't lose those wounds, he would have just come into the middle. He would have been in a super commanding position. He could have started pinging off mortal wounds, taking out the Harvest, taking out Catacross. He would have been in a position to resummon any of the units had they
changed the whole shape of the game.
Yeah,
and
three save rolls, and that's it.
That's it. And I mean, who could have predicted it? You got 15 damage potentially coming in, but 3 lots of 5 coming up. All you got to do is not roll 1s and 2s, and then boff. First turn, first impact. JP's got to be laughing his way to definitely at this stage a podium.
Yeah,
like he's going to have won. He's going to have won this game. This is going to be 5-0.
If he gets this now, he'll be first or second.
And he's played a blinder. Like
he played excellent in the last round. He's played really well today. He's been the Just Play Games guys. They play 3 or 4 games a week on club nights. They try and cram in 3-4, lots of re-racking. They get the reps in. They go through the motions. They wait until the game's decided, and then they just stop and they re-rack. And it's the same sort of tactics or the same sort of game play that we see from like the Bruces as well.
The South London Legion guys.
Just
the Brishammer guys. We see them doing that all the while. Manga Mafia guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, you see that from.
It's obviously his level of skill has gone up so much in the last 6 months.
Just repping the Detroit boys, they do something really similar as well. There's a whole bunch of guys around the world like just keep pumping it out and putting the work in.
Yeah.
No wonder that they're playing so excellently. But that's not to take anything away from Tony, who I think even he didn't let that stop him. He didn't let that stop him.
No, he had a fantastic turn last turn, didn't he? He kept his composure.
Yeah, did really solid. And honestly, if it wasn't for this didn't have to. This Gothazar Harvester, I didn't think was very likely to take out here. Interesting stats actually of the event. 10% of the meta here is Tzeentch, but 10% of the meta here is also Idoneth Deepkin as well.
Oh wow,
which is interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah.
But I think one of the interesting things is actually of the 2 Idoneth Deepkin players doing quite well. Luke obviously being one. Luke's only had to play the one Tzeentch player, and that was an Archeon Tzeentch, which is very different to what we currently consider to be the Boogeyman Tzeentch. Yeah. Chris has rolled a 6 for priority. 6 for priority, so it looks. Chris is going to take this turn.
No hesitation there.
No hesitation. He scored 1 point this turn.
Yep.
He scored 1, so it's 12-3. He now can get this. He can now take those and take that. And then he might be able to jump into the centre. Yeah, and maybe also might be able to take the thralls. So he might Yahtzee this turn. Yeah, swing it all back, get the whole thing, and get 8 points.
But it's high. Though, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, he's not going to hit anything that he cares about it being high tide. I don't think. There's 1 wound left on this eel. They're Aether Wings. The centre's just free. He's just got to move on it.
He wants to shoot those thralls, I think.
And he can shoot the thralls, yeah. But the problem is if he takes the turn, which he's taking the turn, even though he's Yahtzeeing it, and he's going to bring himself 8 points, which will put him a point behind still. The problem is in that turn, there's Voltronus and 2 units of eels, and it's in high tide. So you could just split that.
How many CPs is Luke sitting on at the moment? He's on 1.
He's on 1 CP, so he could use that to get
two extra attacks on Volturnos and on both the units of those eels, because he can put it onto 3.
Yes, and the right decision is he doesn't have to overly stress. He can just make sure he takes this. He's already a point ahead. The best thing he can do in that turn is just
kill the flayers though.
Well, make sure there are no units left that can really do him any damage, and then just start. But the problem is he's going to have these ghouls, because going into the next priority roll, where are they going to go? They might spread out, do a big run roll. It depends. I mean, they can still fail their charge, but I think he's not going to let it go wrong, but it could go wrong.
Yep.
It could.
Because if he casts the Archregent spell onto these unit of flayers, you'd maybe even risk putting them into one of the units, because they're a lot less effective on the charge, and if you've got plus 1 or 2 attacks, you can afford to lose 1 or 2 models, because you'd be making up for that with the spell.
Yeah, so Donaldino is just saying that Benjamin, after 1 month of no paint, I'm finally back on my Ogres. Earthwood Studio paint in best painting lesson ever. Is this right that you gave? Is that right that you gave Donaldino some painting lessons?
We did, yeah. We've done a couple so far, and yeah, we kind of came with the idea of teach a man. How do we say it? Teach a man to paint an ogre, and he'll play ogres for a day. Teach a man to paint an ogre, and he'll play ogres for a lifetime. So it's something I'm going to be looking to do in the next couple of months, is start doing painting lessons down at Bad Moon, I think, and the idea will be trying to teach people just how to paint good, consistent colour schemes, and teach them skills that they're going to be going away and using themselves every day. You know, we don't need another non-metallic metal painting class in the world.
We do not.
People don't use that technique. It's too hard anyway. There's no point in learning it. So just teach people how to choose and create effective colour schemes, and then how to carry them off.
That's
so
really nice.
Watch this space. So we're going to hopefully be starting lessons soon down in Bad Moon.
Well, you've got someone who needs some help right here, so I'd love to come down for that.
Absolutely,
and
everyone's welcome.
That would be fab. I can't wait for that. We'll let you know when that's going live, and we'll shout it out. Okay,
excellent.
So going over to table two with Nagash dead, which is huge. We now are going to see
Massive.
combats here.
Yep.
This Kavalos Death Riders have cleaned up over there. The Reapers, which have activated, have managed to kill one more deck guard because he re-rolls all of his 3+ saves on his battle plan.
Yep.
Yeah. How mad. Okay, so me personally, I'm not one for Warhammer Heroes. I think it's silly, and I don't like anyone dividing the community. I like the idea that everyone is a hero who plays Warhammer. But if there's one man in the world I was going to vote to be my Warhammer hero, it would be who Owen is interviewing now, Mr. Nick Thompson from WS10.
Cheers, Rob. Thanks, man. Cheers, Rob. Thanks very much. Yes, that's right. Rob's right. I've got a true Warhammer hero here with me. Nick doesn't like that accolade, but all the same, I'm going to give it to you anyway.
Thank you very much.
Just like your opponents have been giving it to you all weekend, eh?
Well, I just had it I know that much.
Yeah.
The Fire Slayers, but no,
I came over and you were like, oh, yeah, you got a newfound hatred of those ginger fellas, right?
it's just a learning curve. First time playing them, so it's one of those that you come up to them, you get your plan, you implement that plan, and it doesn't go to the way you planned it. So the next time you're playing, you got to think of a new plan, basically. So yeah, but definitely need a new plan for those. So very strong.
But you seem to be enjoying the Living City. Is that something that, like, is it old models that you dug out of your collection, or is it a new thing? Obviously, the Battletome is relatively new, but talk to me about what your thoughts are behind the list.
Well, the list was about the flagellants that I had from Devoted to Sigmar. That's what I wanted to use, but obviously they've gone, so it's about building a list around them more than anything. I tried to get the Star Drake in using the Jaded DM, the Goron artifact, I think it is. That, but because we can't use the realm artifacts here, so then I just put some Iron Drakes in to do that. I like Living City because it makes you change the way forces people to think about the deployment. Coming up on the sides, and you don't have to do that. It just messes with their heads, and that can give you one turn's grace where you can score, and that's won me 2 games this weekend just by them being held in place, and I'm scoring on the objectives, and then getting ahead, and then struggling then to get back. So That's why I like living city.
Psychological warfare, yeah.
Psychological warfare. I don't like the brutal go down and get rid of somebody straight away. I want to slowly grind them out. That's pull them apart a little bit at a time.
I think we're kindred spirits in that regard. And I saw obviously in many games, you do have that threat to come in, so it keeps them honest. And a lot of Warhammer, when you get to those upper tables, it's about not making mistakes yourself and forcing mistakes. And with that deep strike, it really, I did see with your game with JP, you had a wicked game and it was quite sort of tense, but it was just looking for that one little in. And he played really well, obviously, to get that win. But coming in on that board edge and then shooting and moving. Do you tend to use the command ability a great deal?
Yeah, I do. I use it as well as you can use it to screen out the Iron Drakes as well. So I'll bring on the Drake Sworn Chariot, so to move, to shoot, and then to move, and then screen out, so a bit of protection. But when I played JP, I couldn't get everything where I wanted to do. I wanted to threaten his objective. And because it was all tied up and a long line, I couldn't really do that, so it made it was difficult. He could have strung it a little further, but he chose to stay in cover, so he was still re-rolling. And with that, still re-rolling, the Harvester as well. It really was. I mean, just to keep chipping away and then keep getting it back, and yeah, it was.
And you leant over to me at one point and said that you wish you were playing Speckles again, right?
Well, yeah, because he's a bit of an idiot, ain't he? I mean, it was a great game, just joking, but no, I'm not. He where I could actually shoot him, and he took the first turn because he felt that he had to. I didn't put it, and then he gave me the opportunity to shoot, so I brought everything on, shot him, got the priority, and then shot the rest of his army. So yeah, thanks, Speckles, you're a good lad.
Yeah, you killed him in one turn. He gave you that wonderful moment, knocking down the Mortarka than the.
Hey guys, apologies for that. I think Owen's microphone may have died. I'll just double check that. Okay. We only me with the static. Okay. Maybe it's the quality of the content. Absolutely. I'm not sure what that could have been. I apologise so much. We'll quickly go back and we'll see if it's working.
Is it working? Are we all good? Oh, look at that. See, you missed so much quality content then. Nick was laying down his heart and soul about that Living City list. But mainly it was talking crap about Speckles, right?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, mainly that, yeah.
Taking cat across off in one turn.
And not being able to use a tape measure to set up with.
Well, look, do you think you're going to take the list forward into more tournaments? Any tweaks?
I think I need a bit more support from heroes, so I'm going to look at putting a hero or two in there, maybe drop the gyrocopters out, something like that. So yeah, I'd like to get the Star Drake back in so I can use the Realm Artifact and use that back, so because that's fun.
And you've had a good weekend, yeah?
Oh, that's been fantastic. Playing Warhammer with all these guys, I mean, just whole room full of friends, it just doesn't get any better than that, does it? So.
Amen, brother, amen. So look, with that, I think there's still some hot action on the top table, so I'm going to pass you back to Rob and Benjamin. Thank you very much. Cheers, Nick.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Apologies, everyone, about the noise. RIP, the headphone users, apologise. That was no idea why that is. And also, what a great pair of lads. It's Nick's magnetic personality that was messing with the signal of the microphone. Couldn't agree with you more. He is an angel. Right, so as you can see, Chris has, in the movement phase, but in the combat phase, over on table 2, we have seen the 12 Reapers have just died.
Who also are not near a hero and also don't have immune to battle shock. So that's at least another 3 running. If no more die this turn, at least another 3 will run, even if Tony rolls a 1.
Yes,
so there'll be more of those gone. There's no way bringing them back. There's no Nagash.
There's just
the chain rasps are running anyway, regardless of how many kills.
And Catacross in combat only dealt 4 chain rasps. Me and Benjamin, when we were off air, we were talking about how Catacross is such a good unit because you're able to charge in, activate somewhere else, let Catacross get hit a bit, which means he gets better at fighting, and then he fights in. And we heard an anecdotal tale of Speckles himself. These Speckles cheering because he got charged by 3 Stonehorns, meaning that the 2-up safe Catacross was going to be able to smile through all of that damage and then punch back. Which is
finally it's full profile.
Finally, it's full profile. Such a special human being. I love with all my heart. Right, moving on here. Do you want to? Yeah, let's go game 1.
Let's go and have a look what's happening. Yeah, how's he using this turn?
So he's taken these 3 flares and he's given himself, as you see, he's just touched that edge. Those objective markers super helpful for being able to achieve that over there. Honestly, watching the games has been so much easier to follow because of those.
Yeah, because if you couldn't see that they're just capped there, you might not know whether they're in 6. And you're like, well, why has he done that? What's he done that for? Why hasn't he just gone straight forward? But this is a nice play in general, I think. It looks like he's going to leave this unit back here. Hopefully he's measured his distances so that the eels can't get into him in this turn, and so he's setting up for a counterpunch in the case of losing the double.
I think
it's exactly what he did against Joe, and I imagine he has done his measuring there. So it looks like I think they have like a 28-inch threat range eels maybe.
And he's made that charge in the top now, so he didn't do what we like. So what he could have done though, like I agree with you here, but he simply could have moved those ghouls here, moved them down. When he gets the charge, hit, pile in, and take that. He didn't ever have to commit the 3.
Yeah.
He didn't ever have to commit the 3. He could have then left the 3, moved the 6, shot them. And now I agree he's going to get hit back. And he's obviously got activation over here.
The 3 could have come over here and tried to, as you say, scream and fight these. If you pile in here, even though they're attacking first, he's only going to be hitting with sort of 3, 4 maybe thralls. If you could, Luke's obviously going to want to save his CP, so maybe he wouldn't spend it on battle shock even. And if he could get that one, he would score the full 8. Whereas now he's only going to score 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes.
So he's going to go up to 9, but Luke's still got a turn to go, and he's still going to have his thralls. He's still got all of these.
It's so interesting being able to fight twice and not wanting to be in combat this turn.
Yeah.
Because it's high tide, so all the eels are going first. So the 2 horrors are charging against the eel with 1 wound, and the eel has killed 2 of them. And now the eel that 1 horror could flub. They're not particularly great. I mean, they're good in combat, but they're quite swingy.
Yeah, they hit on 4s, don't they?
And there's still a save to come in. I don't think they have any rend. So the Aether Wings are dead. The real combat here now is because if that doesn't get got, that's massive, because in the next turn, that could be dead now. Here he goes.
Luke's got nothing to bring.
This is such a... it went through, though. It went through, though. That was a big roll. Yeah.
That's good, because now that forces Luke to send something down here to get that one, so that he can pair it with... so he can get the top one, so he can pair it with the bottom one, the bottom objective, to score the 3 points. If he doesn't do anything about that, he's only scoring 1 here. And he's...
So we're going back. So we're going to table 2 now. All of the Chain Rasps have run. All of the Grimgas Reapers have won. The OCR Bone Reapers haven't lost a unit. They haven't lost a unit.
They barely lost a model.
I don't think they might have even lost a model at this stage. You've got 20 Mortet there. You've got 20 Mortet there. You have Catacross himself, Leech Cavalos out in the middle, the 2 crawlers.
Still got your 5 Death Riders.
They haven't lost a model. So
he fails this turn to steal the command page.
No,
he doesn't have any heroes. Oh, he's got a Necromancer left somewhere.
Yeah, Tony, he's over there. So Tony, with his Grand Host Nagash, finally gets to get a CP, but he can't do anything with it.
Yep.
Because Nagash died.
So think about what we were saying at the beginning of the game. Every single time I looked at Tony, he had his full army. Every time I've played this list against Ben in London, it's very rare that he loses even a unit. He played at Bloodshed last year, if you remember. He only conceded 700 kill points with this list over the course of 5 games.
Yeah.
It's such an incredible list for just grinding out, and he jokingly calls it a narrative army because it recreates the terror and the torment and the suffering
of the realm of
what it's like to fight against Nagash and death in general. And here we're going to see this army wiped out to a man, probably, or the handshake we're going to see probably before that, and the OBR haven't lost a model.
It's just crazy. 3 up rerollable save. They've lost 1 model.
One model.
One Mortek Guard.
One Mortek Guard has died.
No, more did die, but
But
he's,
yeah, he obviously put his
he's
board
resurrected
back.
them.
Yep.
And by the end of the turn, he's definitely going to be able to use Catacross to put that one back.
Yeah.
So this army will have started perfect. And really just shows you the
Death 2.0 is better than Death.
Death 1.0. Yeah, it's been decided here on the tabletop, which is wow. So Tony's done his turn. He's ran that unit of dogs back centre of the board there. He's
What's
elected.
Is he playing? There's no secondaries here, is there?
He's just playing it out. He doesn't care about it. Like, Tony's a consummate player. I think
Yeah.
he would like to see what he could do even in this moment. Pretty certain we're going to see a handshake, even with the priority roll, even if it goes
There you
to
go.
Tony.
There it is.
There we go. What a fantastic game. Got to say congratulations
Congratulations
to
to JP. Yeah,
What
he's
a game.
Finally done it. Finally got the 5-0.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's not, even for the best players in the country, in the world, that 5-0 is difficult to get. You have to keep your head switched on. You have to hope for the look of the draw. You have to hope the dice is on your side.
You just got to let Nagash rolls fail 3 saves.
Or that.
But
yeah.
that's unfair to JP because JP's done an amazing job.
Yeah, he's played really well in these last couple of games that we've watched him.
Yeah,
and
solid screening in the game before. Really impressive.
Fully deserved.
Fully deserved.
Yeah, that's great for him. I'm really pleased.
And with him and Luke, I think potentially, I'm still feeling. So game 1, so game 2 goes to Flesh Eater Courts in an OC Bone Reapers. Sorry,
Yep.
OC Bone Reapers and JP. Excellent game, but game 1 here still in the balance.
Okay,
still in the balance.
So we've seen Luke's whole turn here then. So he's moved the thralls up into the middle. He's secured this objective. He's had to send 3 eels over there, which is massive, really, because those 3 eels are going to be too far away to affect anything in the next turn. Maybe they can jump over there, actually, but he's had to send 3 eels, which is going to have a huge amount of output in high tide, especially if he's given them some extra attacks. And he's had to send them over there to kill one horror, which was summoned anyway. But it will mean that Luke will score the centre, and he'll score these 2. So he's going to be scoring 5 this turn. He's going to go up to 17. So it's 8 points clear. And so the next priority is going to be huge.
It is, but the output is like look, I think sending the thralls there is on purpose because the flayers have to come here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then the eels come here, and if they try and go over there, there's still Volty. I don't know where Volty's gone into the 2.
Yep.
Yeah, so the 6 are going to go there after Volty. Yeah, so then he can bring them to bear. So what he's actually done in the centre, he's just made it so that
unless in his turn he moves the ghouls over, gets a charge in, just pins them.
Yeah, that would be the only smart play, in that situation. Yeah, but I think this is what he does. 3 hits at
-5 rend from Volturnos.
Wow, going through.
So that even Nagash on his 2-up save wouldn't get a save there.
That's what we need against Mortek Guard.
Yeah.
We need more -5 rend.
More -5.
Yeah, more -5 in the game. I'm fed up of only
-5.
More -5. Hashtag get it going. Yeah, that's. No, we hear it no's in the chat. So both of those 2 flayers are gone now. Big Chris played a good game after a sad turn the turn before in turn 2 to bring it back for those 6 points. He's brought it back to 3 points in, although Luke is about to score his points.
Yeah, he's going to go to 17 now.
So it's 17-9. Priority roll coming up. If priority roll goes to Luke, it's a great place for him to be in.
Yeah, I think if priority goes to Luke now, it's probably game.
Yes. It's a draw, which means Chris gets the choice.
Gets it. Okay, so
We've got a game, ladies and gentlemen. We've still got a game. We don't have a long left on the clock. We should find out how much time we have left.
Yeah.
Not long.
Find out. It looks like the majority of the rest of the room is already packed up.
It is.
There's maybe 4 or 5 games going from what I can see.
Not
from
many.
Here, so.
Not many. It's very, very close. Everyone's just having a chill. It's been a really, really great event. Honestly, really fun. The crowd here is phenomenal.
Yeah. It's my first time this far north, I think, for a Warhammer event.
It's not even that far.
This is far.
All the Scottish lads are listening like, what is wrong with you?
It took me 4.5 hours to get here on a coach. But no, it's been excellent. Like, it's really, really good atmosphere. It's a fantastic crowd. Played in the right spirits all weekend. It's been brilliant. Yeah,
it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
And just we've seen some incredible games. Parr with his scrap launchers has made me laugh. Young JJ against Mark Wildman, fantastic game. Like, we've just seen some laughs. It's been a great day on the stream as well.
It's been good. There's been some great
There's
games,
no round 6. This is the final, so this is it. We're going to go now to our man in the field, Owen Jackson. He's going to let us know what's been happening at the rest of the event here in the Sheffield Slaughter 2020.
Cheers, Rob. Cheers, Benjamin. Yeah, I think this might be my last little piece now because all the other games, except for tables 1 and 2, are done. So, yeah, I've got the final results for you. We've got James Boots beat out Ben Smith on table 6. So Ben's Underguts managed to win in the shootout there. Mike Stewart's Fire Slayers, they won out against Nick Thompson's Living City. A game that's just finished behind me was Mark Wildman against Alex Bruce. Mark Wildman with Archeon. It was super tight, but Mark got priority. They both rolled a 6, and Mark broke ties, so that was the swing there. Liam Jordan's OBR won. It looked like it was going to happen. Liam won out against Tom Fretwell. Andy Hughes came through and got the win against James Tinsdale. And then literally they're just rolling out for kill points. But Greg Shelton's Flesh Eaters, despite absolutely bossing his 6s to hit with the flayers and doing mortals, that won out. They just took a loss there on the mission against Gabe Huddleston's Big War. So Gabe went 4-1, Andy Hughes went 4-1, Liam Jordan went 4-1, Mark Wildman got a 4-1, Mike Stewart with his what's becoming customary 4-1, and then James Boots got a 4-1 as well. So I think with Andy's minor coming into it, I reckon Andy might have snipped 3rd place. But outside of that, it's all down to what's happening on table 1 for the champions. So with that, I'm going to pass you back to Rob and Benjamin in the booth, who are going to give you the final update on table 1. Cheers.
Yes, you can see behind there. Thank you very much, Owen. Fantastic job he's done all weekend, finding out about the events. So, yeah, look, Chris in his turn, we just talked about it's all about who makes the mistakes in this now. It's razor tight. Oh, okay, so Chris... Wow, okay, so we just heard some news from the tabletop. Chris has agreed the game. He says the game is Luke's, so he's just playing for some kill points.
Is that right, though?
I think it's right. Well, the ghouls don't have the output. He's got the 6 flayers, but he's going to get hit now by 3 eels. Don't forget, he watched 3 eels take off a Ghoul King on Terror, guys. Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, there's more. Is there more wounds? There's 24 wounds, but on a 5-up save.
Does he not? Is the shooting not quite effective?
I mean, I doubt he'll even go through Volty. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's done the shooting. He's done nothing to the thralls.
He hasn't killed anything.
Yeah. So he's taking that out. Even the ghouls coming in.
But he could have, if he moved these over here. I don't know. Maybe that's too far. That is 24 inches, I suppose. Isn't it?
That is 24 inches. That's a really nice thing about the objectives. They let us know.
Yeah.
That point to that point. Yeah. So it's going to be a win to Luke. Luke, whether or not he'll podium, because there are some secondaries in place. Not secondaries to play on the tabletop, but there are painting nominations, best sports votes, and obviously, as we've just seen, JP playing an incredibly fantastic weekend and walking away 5-0. So both of these two players, either first and second, one of these two people wins. But either way, Luke's second singles tournament, his second event where he hasn't dropped a game.
Yep.
I haven't heard of that since Benjamin
now, isn't he? The heyday of Daughters of Cain. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, there we go. There's the handshake.
There it is, the handshake.
There we go.
And that's it.
Fantastic. Right. Okay, we come back to us. Hello, welcome. My name's Rob. This is Benjamin. Finally got the names right today. Wow, what a weekend. Phenomenal result again. Luke Morton, we said it at the beginning of the weekend, we called it.
S-tier, you said it. Joe posted a tweet out on Friday after Luke had been announced saying congratulations to the Sheffield Slaughter winner. It's not decided yet.
No,
could
JP
still be JP. They're both on 5-0.
And if
I
anything,
think that painted nominations might be a decider in the...
JP's army's really nice, though.
Yeah, it is, but he didn't get a nomination, and if that does come down to a tiebreaker, then that might swing it in his favour.
Agreed. But we've had an amazing weekend. Benjamin, you've been fantastic. Thank you.
It's been great to be here.
You guys watching have also been fantastic. Thanks very much. I mean, the event's been brilliant. There's been 40 games played per round, and we've been able to catch up with maybe 3 of them pretty much every round apart from this, which has been great. So we've seen some amazing moments. We've seen Phoenixes die to Chaos Knights, which now I'm going to go and really look at Chaos Knight lists.
yeah.
I love those
completely
models.
overlooked them.
Absolutely.
As well, yeah.
I got to say, big play of the weekend for me is that catapult hitting and going through and doing that 14 damage early.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, absolutely. It completely changed that game, mate. It completely changed it. So interesting.
it changed the shape of the game. We had some really fun games earlier where we saw Chris take off Joe's army, which was very cool. Some excellent screaming.
Two
some combat.
amazing games from the KO boat lists, which I have just posted out a tweet myself, asking if anyone's got any gun haulers or ironclads for sale.
KO. You're inspired by the weekend.
Yeah. I loved watching those lists, man. I think there's a lot of legs in there that the internet has not given KO a chance.
100%. Well, if you listen to Nathan Prescott, they're unbelievable. You
Yeah.
put 5 admirals in a boat and you start punching things, but I'm not sure how. Right, so it's been a wicked weekend. Obviously, you can watch it all back. You can watch it all free on YouTube. You can watch it all free on Twitch. So thank you very much for doing so. It's been wicked. We've got more events coming up soon. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. I need to say a big thank you to the team that have helped me put it on. So that would be Owen, who's done amazing in field reporting.
He has indeed, hasn't he?
Nathan Prescott, who was a co-commentator, did an amazing job and table bossing. And then the wonderful intern.
Our new intern, Matt.
Matt.
Yeah.
A lot of love for Matt.
Great
real
guy.
Big, great guy, done real good. And everyone helping at home, Scrivo, Wallace, Tom doing all of our stats and input. You've been great. The event staff here also at the Davy Sports Centre.
Yeah, exactly.
And
great. Everyone, and the tournament organisers, everyone who's made it possible, all the players.
There we go. So the results will be posted online. We'll post them up on the tSports network, Twitter. So check us out there. We'll also put it up on the Facebook page. If you have enjoyed it and you've had a great weekend, the thing that you can do that will help us out if you want to is bang on about it to your mates. Send them links to videos, send them links to our YouTube, subscribe to all of them, subscribe to the Twitch. Any of those things will help us out, bring you better coverage in the future, which is all we want to do. We've
Absolutely.
got some big events this year, AOS Six Nations.
Yep.
We're going to be putting a camera on every table in a
That's
matchup.
8 games. 8 games all at once. If you enjoyed 3, come back.
What will 8 be like?
Yeah.
We've got Blood Tide, we've got LGT, a team event, that's 4.
Yep.
So that's a bit more like what we were doing today. This weekend really was a practice for that. So it's going to be frantic, but it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. JP, what a legend.
Go on, JP.
Absolutely smashed it. Yeah, great work. Great work.
Well done, boy.
Yeah, well done. Right, okay, so you guys, we've loved you long enough.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys
Thank
soon.
you.
Have a great weekend if you've enjoyed Warhammer. And thank you for joining tSports. See you soon. Goodbye.